All right, then. We're going to hide our faces so you can see the game a little bit better. And Danny, let's hook this up to our veins because the first game wasn't what we had really hoped that it would be. Pacers completely blew out the Bucks. Bucks made it semi-respectable down the end. I haven't even watched that part of it yet. But this game, this is the series, as you said, we're most excited for. Some of the early things you're going to be looking for.
I already discussed the use of Ivica Zubats. Kawhi Leonard is going to be a massive figure in this series. And I don't know that there are as many, using your term of the crucible, I don't know that there are as many of those types of players in this series. We have a lot of established commodities, but it's still going to be what do these guys, what does Jamal Murray look like? We saw him play towards the end of last week, but he's still coming back from this hamstring.
Yeah, that's going to be fascinating. The thing I'll be looking at the closest is how are they going to defend Chris Dunn?
Oh, yeah.
Because he's really important to their strategy, I think, defensively. So if he's going to be gumming everything up for you on offense and can't play, that's going to make Denver's life a lot easier on the offensive end. And kind of what we saw when the Nuggets are absolutely at their best, like that Lakers series, for example, in 23, there was one group maybe that the Lakers were able to go to that could defend Denver okay, but then they didn't have enough shooting or scoring. And that was, even though the Nuggets weren't an awesome defensive team, they forced their opponents to be a bad offensive team because their offense was so ridiculous. But I think this is one of the biggest defensive challenges, if not the biggest defensive challenge, that the Denver Nuggets have gone up against in the Jokic era, maybe since the Anthony Davis, Alex Caruso Lakers in 2020.
Yeah, especially when we're talking about a more fully formed version team, because they played a good Warrior squad, but they were insanely hurt.
No Murray. That was the regrettable Campazzo, Monte Morris era. I would imagine the Clips are going to start things off playing it pretty conservatively. Dunn on Murray, not a ton of switching. Zubats on Jokic. And you really got to change up a lot against Jokic, though, because he'll figure out everything.
And something else I'm going to be watching during this game, coaches can change just like players can, is that Ty Lue's coached a lot of series. He has a very good playoff record overall. He often finds the right answer rather than starting at the right answer. And so what do they have to change after the start, after game one, will be something to watch too.
Yeah, and does he take too long to get to what we think some of the obvious strategies were? I'm not sure there is an obvious strategy against Nikola Jokic, though. And we'll start off here. It's going to be Aaron Gordon on James Harden. This is a 1-2-2 zone, at least on the first one here. Zubats was trying to post up Harden. This is another thing we'll watch, too. James Harden just holding onto the ball for very long periods of time. Zubats floater on the baseline, gets it back, and he's got a nice little hook shot, apropos for the man who had, I think, the most hook shots in 20 years was the stat.
I think that was the stat, yeah.
Harden is on Gordon initially. They try to run some screening action here for Murray. Dunn just got right through the screen. This time they call the late switch here. Jokic backing down. Harden comes over to help. That's the right pass. Three-pointer that's Porter Jr. in the corner, and he cashes that out.
And that was a pretty aggressive closeout. I believe that was Norm Powell, but just not quite fast enough.
Yeah, and that was interesting that they went to that aggressive of a switch on Murray. Powell coming out of the corner, goes at Zubats for the cram dunk. Zubats, the least exciting dunker in the NBA, has 4 points.
And that was a really nice drive and pass from Norm Powell.
And that's one of the things we talked about, that Jamal Murray is going to have to guard someone in this series, that wide pin down out of the corner for Powell. And now Jokic stepping back off of the back screen. They have to help just a little bit. That frees him up for the three-pointer. That's the biggest difference in Jokic's game this season, the aggression from three. Cross screen for Leonard. Aaron Gordon fouled him as he went across. No call. Here's Zubats on the cross screen. Goes right in again. They are going right at Nikola Jokic defensively.
Zubats is getting good position. That was a little further up, but he has good touch on that hook shot.
There's that same screening action again. Leonard gets through it. Now Murray and Jokic interact. Jokic on the handoff. Zubac slightly daring him to shoot. Now Jokic on the drive. Knocked backwards. Rebounded by the Nuggets. Harden couldn't corral it. Murray rejects the screen, going at Zubac. And that is a very difficult finish. See, they got to go here. This is
Yeah,
too
that's
slow.
the opportunity.
Too slow. Jamal Murray's on the ground. James Harden just not going to push it like that. 2 on the ball on Harden's first pick and roll. Here's Leonard, bludgeons into Murray, turns and fires. And even though Jamal Murray's fall to the ground didn't lead to initial fast break, it did lead to him on Leonard. Here's the slip. Good help by Harden, and Kawhi got a hand on it too. Fast break for the Clippers. This is Powell, stripped from behind. Jokic saying off his leg, he's calling for a review.
This could be a boomerang challenge if they did it, because I think there was a foul that led to that ball going out of bounds.
Yeah, here's that first play where they get the late switch of Zubac onto Murray, and that enabled Nikola Jokic to get into the post against Dunn. They double, and he finds the man, as he always does. Harden now has Murray on him. Murray trying to force him to his right. Harden getting into the lane. Murray on him, goes through his arm. No foul call there. Either way, if that wasn't a foul on Murray, it should have been a foul on Harden going through his arm. That hook play was a point of education. Do they help here? This is Powell getting strong. Dunn came over late. Tough fadeaway from Gordon off the glass. He's perfected that shot in recent years.
Aaron Gordon, this wasn't one of those, but Aaron Gordon's jump shot is a huge question for me. He's been so much more confident, so much better this year, but is that real?
Kawhi off the screen. They engage Jokic again, and the foul on Murray. Murray again pleading with the bench, but this is not a shooting foul. They should not challenge it.
And that's actually the first foul of the game for either team.
Yeah, it's been a pretty quick pace here early. You'd think that would favor the Nuggets. It takes a few days to acclimate at altitude. Game 2 might be a different story. They're trying to topside Leonard here. Here's the three-pointer by Powell off the dribble against Murray. That is a matchup that is vulnerable for the Nuggets. Gordon on the 4-5 pick and roll. They swing it to Murray. Good closeout by Dunn. Now Jokic has it up top. They late switch it here with Harden. Harden, not a guy who's going to get through a lot of screens. They're going to target him with Porter Jr. this time.
That was a foul.
I don't know if it was. Here's Murray on the fading three. And if he's going to be making shots like that and that hook shot over Zubac, that's huge for the Nuggets. Everything we expected to see here early on. Great high-level play for both teams. Zubac. Murray comes over. Oh, Zubac should have just kept going. They're lucky that that was a kick ball. Zubac is saying, yeah, I should have shot that.
And one of the things you talked about in the preview was this one wasn't Harden, but the pocket passes of Harden versus the kick balls of Jokic with both feet.
Also noteworthy, they've double teamed, but they have forced Harden to his right as a passer. That time he made the play regardless. Powell. Dunn was in his airspace. Powell just shoots it anyway. Poor spacing that time for LA. Gordon trying to post up Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard says, nah, get the fuck out of here. Here's a three by Murray. This Gordon and Kawhi matchup, two of the most physical players at their position in the league. They get Brown onto Kawhi. Zubac swings it. Powell, blow by on Porter Jr., goes right through Jokic. Zubac cleans up.
I really liked how quickly Norman Powell made that decision, because what that meant was they never lost the advantage. The recovery from Jokic required his attention, and then Zubac gets the follow-up finish.
Porter Jr. going to his left, his favored side. Powell was a little late to switch out. Powell and Harden, not the greatest getting through screens. Powell, not a great communicator. Here's Harden on just the blow by there. Jokic raises his hand. He was not in position. They were forcing Harden away from the screen. This is key, I think. Every single time they've been forcing Harden very hard to the right. All four of his attacks, they forced him right. Jokic blew it, though. He wasn't in position for that. Here's Gordon missing the three. Two-point Clipper lead. Pocket pass. That time they didn't force that. They did not force him to the right. And that's why I think David Edelman, I mean, it's time for a timeout anyway, but I think that's why David Edelman wants to talk it over because they pretty much blew the coverage 2 times in a row there on Harden, it looked like to me.
Our dog says, "What kind of Jamal Murray do you expect from these playoffs? Closer to last year, closer to 2023?" I think he'll be pretty healthy. 2023 is a really high bar. I mean, that was some of the best Jamal Murray that we've seen. So I'll go closer to 23 than 24, but still not quite 23. See if there are any YouTube questions.
Yeah, Denver getting up a surprising number of threes so far, not much towards the basket. Yeah, I think if they can continue that, the Clippers defense, they're going to be feeling pretty good about things because that's where Denver is really going to beat you up. They're not a great shooting team. If you're forcing Jokic, Murray, Porter obviously is the one guy who really wants to shoot from out there. If you're forcing Jokic and Murray to take a lot of threes, I think at it I think that the Clippers can outscore that. It's when you're getting sliced up at the basket that it's really a problem.
Marshall says Harden looks faster to him lately. Yeah, I agree. I think that he's looking a little better physically. And older teams, generally speaking, the postseason can be you get the accumulation, but you never have back to back. Sometimes you have 2 days off between games, and so that can actually be pretty useful.
Yeah, Daniel says Jokic defense. Yeah, that's been great so far, I would say.
Yeah.
And they've really tried to go at him with off-ball screening action through Powell, who I think has been big here early, and they have not been willing to be in a drop coverage on James Harden. That wouldn't be my preferred strategy, particularly when you have Dunn on the floor. I want to let James Harden get into the lane and make a two-pointer, and you can do that by Jokic hanging back a little bit. He doesn't want to play that way though, right? Like he doesn't like guys coming downhill at him. He doesn't like jumping in front of guys for verticality. He's not going to get off the ground on defense. But I think they also, because Dunn is on the floor in particular, they could just clog the paint enough. And the fact that they haven't made Chris Dunn even touch the ball pretty much on offense,
Right.
I think is a failure for Denver.
And you want to make a team question, this is even going back to the original purpose of Haka is you want to question you want a team to question the guys they have on the floor and see if they could do something different. If you want somebody else out there, and Chris Dunn will do a really good job on Jamal Murray getting through screens. So I think you want the Clippers to question whether you want him on the floor.
Yeah, this is the other thing that's really been nice is that Ivica Zubac has gotten off some early. And they've even gotten some work on the offensive glass too, where Denver is usually bulletproof.
And one thing that the Clippers understand really well, have done a great job of in this early going, is understanding the limitations of Jokic as a rim protector, going after him in primary actions, having passes there because he's not going to make recovery plays. He's not going to stand stop there even if he's there.
Another thing that we probably didn't talk about enough, Denver's transition game hasn't really figured so far. That's partially because the Clippers have been scoring every time. Now Harden switching on to Jokic, and Jokic will get the foul call. Probably going to be a non-shooting affair. That's another way that Nikola Jokic is so dangerous, working off of screens. You just don't see that from a center, but he's so smart. He can take advantage of guys looking the wrong way. And most centers are not good at getting through screens.
Right.
Yeah, they're having Gordon screen for him because they want to involve Harden in the action. There's the step out by Jokic. Again, though, if that's the shot that Jokic has to take a lot of, I think it's advantage Clippers. Not that he can't make it, but you're not getting the really juicy stuff there. Harden flips it to Dunn. That's the first time they've made Dunn beat them, and he did that time.
And now we get to watch over the next few minutes whether the Nuggets change their approach on Dunn. Nice pass.
And there's the first easy system bucket that's been given up. Powell was beaten that time. Powell, to me, is the most inattentive Clipper defender, and with him guarding Christian Braun, the best Nuggets cutter, that could be an advantage for the Nuggets. Leonard off the screen, double team. Zubac's released. This is going to be a layup for Dunn. Too easy.
And it's the timing on it. Chris Dunn, basically, his whole purpose there is to watch if the cut avenue is open. Actually, it's kind of similar to Christian Braun.
There's that interaction with Gordon and Jokic again into the post. Good defense by Zubac, but better short area passing by the Nuggets will get Gordon to the line. This now, the Nuggets are going at this pain point here. Harden guarding Aaron Gordon, and maybe Kawhi Leonard needs to switch on to Aaron Gordon.
They might be saving it for later on in the game, but and Harden was complaining, but that was a pretty aggressive reach. And even if he didn't make a ton of contact, we didn't get a clean replay of it. You never get the benefit of the doubt there when you're reaching down and you're kind of just throwing it down there. They'll probably make the call.
Yeah, Harden can guard most guys in a post-up, but Nikola Jokic is not most guys, and so Zubac is always going to be trying to get back to Jokic, and that's what they took advantage of that time. So this is interesting here, too. James Harden kind of struggling to find a hiding place right now.
And I know they're afraid of putting Harden on Christian Braun because Braun is such an aggressive, successful cutter.
Right. Yeah, I think that's true as well. And then where do you put Powell? Powell has to really be on Braun. So Nicola Batum is in. They're going to give Kawhi a rest right now, and Harden just goes right to the basket once more. This Denver Nugget point of attack defense against Harden has been extremely poor. Dunn switching on to Jokic off the ball. He's going to back down. Zubac comes over. Westbrook tries to cut. That leaves the opening for Braun. He missed it, though. Westbrook on the offensive glass. Transition opportunity, but Powell fumbled it.
And I cracked up there because Chris Dunn tried to get a steal on Jokic. You could do that on centers, but not Jokic.
Again, Westbrook bails to direct the ball. They're in a drop coverage now, but this is twice that Russell Westbrook on James Harden, first time, actually, it was Gordon. Maybe they changed things up a little bit, but you cannot just let James Harden go left in this situation. Unless they changed up their scheme at that timeout, you should be forcing him right.
Especially if he can get his hand to the backboard and get those layups, because Jokic isn't going to take it off there. And here's Derek Jones Jr. coming in. Who did he sub in for?
Dunn would be
Chris Dunn.
Yeah, they're not going to play Dunn and Jones Jr. together. Those guys basically sub in for one another. Harden has dominated here early. This is 27 points for LA in less than 8 minutes.
And as you can see on the screen, 16-4 run for the Clippers in about 3 minutes.
Murray forced away from the screen by Jones. He'll take the mid-ranger. Zubac just kind of faked at him enough to disrupt his rhythm. Good pick-and-roll defense. Here's Harden, a deep three. Rebounded, tipped away by Batum. Gordon forces him right. They'll switch this. Harden going to go into the ISO game against Murray with Kawhi on the bench. Harden is at the controls. Murray stopped him once, didn't stop him again. And James Harden, I love his approach right now. You said it exactly. He's getting his hand to the corner of the backboard, and David Adelman needs to talk it over. Jokic has been lit up here, just absolutely zero rim protection. What are the stats on what the Clippers are doing at the rim right now? Because it seems like it's a bloodbath.
5 of 6 already. That's 5 of 6 in 8 minutes.
Oh, there's a tough post up by Jokic. I thought we were headed to a timeout. Harden throws it ahead. Oh, Nuggets didn't match up. They've got Powell on Jokic. Westbrook goes to the double team. Oh, and he got the steal. This is going to be a dunk. That was just really poor from Powell. And Ty Lue's going to get a timeout.
Yeah, there was a little bit of pressure. He should have thrown that ball to Harden. If he had thrown it to Harden, they would have gotten a layup or a dunk, but instead he tried to throw it cross court with not nearly enough steam.
I mean, it might have been, I think it got deflected.
But that might be right.
Westbrook got his hand on it, and that was the issue. But that was actually really good recognition, I thought, by Westbrook to come over, seeing Powell was going to try to isolate on Jokic, and he surprised Powell, knocked it away from him.
Darcy asked.
Go ahead. Sorry. No, I was just going to thank everyone for joining us here and tell your friends about this on social media or even IRL if people still do that. But we're definitely looking for some ways to get the word out about this show. So we really appreciate y'all being a part of this and the good questions, especially because this is such a fun series. And also, I think it helps our analysis in the pod to do this too, because I'm never more locked in than when I'm doing the game. You have to break down every single possession.
So Darcy asked if we think Jokic is going to be more of a facilitator or scorer in this series. Based on the way the Clippers are defending him right now, I think it'll be more of a facilitator. But the beauty of Jokic is that he flows between the two. It's a really context dependent on everything that's out there. And then Dion asks, would the Bucks be better off with Middleton instead of Kuzma right now? I mean, this was not exactly the best Kyle Kuzma performance. Let me pull up his actual line. I saw it earlier. Yeah, 0 points, 0 for 5 from the field, 2 fouls, including one that I think could have been something else, considering he deliberately tripped somebody in the open court. But yeah, I mean, Kuzma. The Bucks made this fascinating bet. You and I talked about it a little bit at the time. I don't know that we'll talk about this too much on the pod, so I'll do a riff now. Of they got Kevin Porter Jr. and Kyle Kuzma, who had both been horrendous in their previous locations, but on, in different situations. And it's not like Kuzma was on a non-competitive team. Porter Jr. wasn't. Porter Jr. has been significantly better in Milwaukee than he was with the Clippers, where I thought he was one of the most destructive offensive players in the league. Kuzma hasn't elevated as much as I hoped. How many players play for Denver today? So definitely at least 8, because you'll have the 7 Peyton Watson's going to come in here, the 7 that they've already played, and then a backup center, whoever that is. I think it'll be 9. I think Pickett will play, and that'll be the other guy.
Yeah, so Zubac has been good so far. Nuggets, other than that one Brown layup, I don't recall another great shot that they've gotten early on here. But I think you have to be extremely concerned about the Nugget defense. Now they're playing bad defense, they're not playing up to their capabilities. Their defense on Harden has been really undisciplined. They haven't whatever their plan was, and I'm trying to tell you what it is as best I could tell, but whatever their plan was, they haven't been able to execute it. So Clippers put in Bogdanovic now. Let's see if they can take advantage of him. Here's Zubac trying to post up. This is a zone from the Nuggets. Bogdanovic blows by his teammate Jokic on the Serbian national team. Harden bothered from behind by Brown, and that's his first miss in the paint. He'll have to pick up Murray. Jokic looking to post up. Has neither Murray nor Jokic been out yet, or did they take him out briefly for Westbrook?
I don't think Murray's been out yet.
Westbrook cutting along the baseline, and that's a pretty good shot right there. A little difficult one along the baseline, but an NBA player will make that shot a good percentage of the time. Westbrook hasn't been guarded. He's doing a good job of cutting into the lane here early. Here's Bogdanovic against the zone. In and out. 2 straight stops for the Clippers zone. The Nugget zone. Jokic in the pick and roll. Jones trying to get over the screen. Short floater. Bogdanovic came over. And this is now a couple of really nice shots for Denver. They're back into contact. Zubac's looking to post up against Jokic. Trying to back in. Jokic is pretty strong for him. And wow, Zubac, he threw that to absolutely nobody.
That was a terrible pass.
Back down by Murray. Bogdanovic trying to get strong, and he's called for the chuck. I just don't like that. if the guy's trying to get physical, like Murray wasn't making a move there.
Well,
He's just bashing his shoulder into him.
what I think they got is also Bogdanovic dropped his right hand and kind of pushed it. And I think there was arm contact at the same time there was chest contact. But I agree with you. I don't think that has to be a call. And here's Ben Simmons.
Yeah, so they're not going to match up Zubac with Jokic exclusively. Yeah, Zubac is saying the same thing that I was saying, where if Murray's going to try to bash his shoulder in, like, yeah, you know what? You should be able to give him a forearm back. So they're going to switch now. Murray takes the three instead of looking for Jokic posting up on Jones. So Simmons and Westbrook, maybe two of the worst shooters at whatever you want to call their position. Harden tried to draw the foul. He's tried to do that twice. He hasn't gotten the call either time. Nuggets transition. Here's Watson underneath, and he's hit from behind by Simmons.
And that was quite the pass by Jamal Murray. He saw Watson breaking in, and Watson had to continue that cut, something you get very comfortable with the Nuggets, but a really good pass. And go ahead.
Is Kawhi Leonard, is he back in the game? What
I don't think he is.
Foul trouble?
No, he has 0 fouls. Harden has 2. Harden's the only player who's in foul trouble.
I hate that I have to like raise my eyebrows anytime he has a slight absence. But yeah, Leonard has played. I guess he's played 7 minutes, but so maybe they'll give him a 5-minute rest. I thought he had gone out a little earlier than he actually did. So maybe it'll be a 5-minute rest, and then he'll come back to start the second.
And if Kawhi is out there for the non-Jokic minutes, that could be quite the swing.
I would say, though, I would probably prefer Kawhi as the star in the non-Zubac minutes. Like, I like Harden matching up with Zubac to have that pick and roll game. Yeah, so this not a good shooting group. Watson, Westbrook, Pickett, Brown around Jokic. Here's Harden on the floater. Missed it. The drop coverage worked a little bit better there. They controlled him some. I think Harden should take another dribble and go right at Jokic. Here's Westbrook. Powers at Jones. That's not going to work. Ill-conceived there. Simmons getting it back into Harden's hands from Batum. Harden, tough step back. He got it, though. Got the kind of 2-for-1, 3.4 differential. We'll see whether the Clippers end up getting another shot out of this or not.
And that one notwithstanding, Harden was getting shots at the backboard, and they moved a little bit behind that, and he's been missing more.
Yep. Westbrook switched onto by Batum. Now they try to kick out. That leaves Westbrook open for 3. They're willing to deal with that. And, I thought
it should be Nuggets ball.
Who hit that. I don't know. I can't tell for sure, but from here it looked like Bogdanovic hit it, but nobody really complaining. And I'll tell you, 6.6 left, so the Clippers will get another shot at it. They'll take out Jokic, put in Gordon for this last defensive possession.
Where's Mason Plumlee when you need him?
They'll set the screen at half court for Harden, and they were going to give a foul to give. I think Harden heard the bench yelling for it. He picked up his dribble to try to make it a shooting foul, but
and that's another one of the fouls to give that I don't particularly like. The Clippers weren't really doing anything at that point. Harden had the ball at half court with 4 seconds left. You don't need to foul. You could fake it. That'd be fun.
Simmons gets it in. They should double team off of Simmons here. They're not there. There it does come. Harden going to his left. 3-pointer is good. James Harden stepping back to his left that time. What a start for Harden. 6 of 11 from the field, 15 points, 2 assists, and 0 turnovers in the first quarter.
Yeah, what do you think he's doing? Playing the Celtics for that game without Embiid? He's been massive.
Well, it's always awesome in game 1.
That's true.
Not in the comments. Yeah, those 2 threes by Harden. Denver had gotten it back to 29-27, and then he hits 2 threes in the last 30 seconds of the first quarter.
couple of the kind of the big picture stats so far. It's just been an extremely offensive first quarter, which you could tell by watching, but also only 21 possessions per clean the glass right before the last possession. And we're looking at around 1.4, 1.3 points per possession, a little bit better for the Clippers, of course, because they're in the lead. And both teams have identical 1.19 points per half court first shot play. That's crazy good. That is one of the best numbers that you really ever see. And very little transition play so far. As the official stats count it, 4 combined fast break points, 4 for the Nuggets, 0 for the Clippers, and the transition frequencies are super low too.
Thought your performance last night making a Hawks game watchable was exceptional. Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate that comment. Let's see if we got anything on YouTube to talk about here. Are you going to co-GM the Sacramento Kings? That would be amazing. I had an interview with Vlade in like 2015. I didn't get the job, thank God.
From Kanata, how long did it take for the two of you to decide the roles you'd call games? I think it took about a year. Because we kind of, our original idea was that we would go with more of a traditional approach. I would do play-by-play and Nate would do color. But then I think what happened was you did a game without me. It was something like that, and just kind of found the cadence, and then we figured it out from there. But I think we had tried the other way for about a year.
No, I don't think that's what it was. So we started doing the show through Twitter.
Yes.
But it wasn't live. It was going
to be
the
halftime show.
More of a halftime show. So that was like at the start of the 16-17 season. And we were actually like going to the Twitter headquarters to do it. And then I think it was like a Spurs-Knicks game on like a Sunday that I was just watching. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to just turn this on Twitter and just do it live. I was by myself.
Yeah.
So that was the end, probably like January or February in the 2016-17 season. So I just did the first one myself. Like we were sort of thinking we were going to do it, repairing. I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going to just turn it on and do it. And then I think that sort of like provided the baseline when we started doing it together.
I did not remember that Amir Coffey was on the 2020 Clippers.
Yeah, he might have even been like a two-way guy at that point. He didn't get ticked for them, that's for sure. So 8-point lead here, and Kawhi has returned. He's guarding Porter Jr. This is the non-Jokic minutes. They're going to Gordon in the post. They're not fucking around with the backup center. Simmons comes over to double team. Gordon stopped underneath by Jones, but they're going to say he got him on the wrist. No, travel. Gordon thought he got hit on the arm, but because he got hit on the arm, not the ball, it was a travel. Let's see it here. He works into it, and I don't see why that was a travel either. Maybe he hit it seconds before. It was Bogdanovich lasering up, missed it. Westbrook on the push, going right in on Batum, and Batum let him go. Let's see if the Clippers can get transition. Simmons has Leonard on his left. Yes.
And one. And Kawhi Leonard only took one shot from the field in his 7 minutes in the first quarter, and then gets there in transition. And I believe that's the first fast break bucket for the Clippers too.
Yep. And this is not a big fast break team. Leonard, Harden, not known for that necessarily. However, when Russell Westbrook slams a layup off the backboard, that's going to be good transition for any team.
I know they tried it with Bones Highland, but it would be super fun if the Clippers could get like a water bug point guard for some of these backup units. Not necessarily in this series.
So neither Murray nor Jokic on the floor. Here is Porter Jr. slams into his man. Went after the rebound, almost recovered it, but then didn't have another nugget to help him. So this is going to be big here. If the Clippers can push this out to 15 or so with Jokic on the bench, that's going to be a big lift for the Nuggets. Westbrook coming over in the strong side zone to try to take away Leonard's isolation. Simmons working into the lane. Leonard just shot his mid-ranger. That not a good possession for the Clippers. Now Westbrook again goes into Kawhi. That's bad defense by Kawhi Leonard.
No, I mean, he picked up his dribble. You won. Just let him take that shot.
Yeah. Mark says, what do I think of this lineup? This is one of those things where it should be studied very extensively. I've always been a little bit less sanguine about the criticisms like, oh my God, how can you not stagger? Because we've seen that Murray hasn't been particularly effective without Jokic anyway. So maybe it actually is better to see if you can just win those Murray Jokic minutes by a lot and try to survive here. Now, part of the problem is with Westbrook out there, you're going to really push the ball and maybe make some bad decisions. So you're going to end up with more possessions without Jokic. But I'm not going to shovel dirt on it yet necessarily. It's not great, though. Here's Jones, and nice floater there. He had Simmons going along the baseline. Instead, he put it in himself. They put 2 on the ball, and nice job of the Clippers making the pass. There's Pickett making it. I mean, you can't give up that bucket as the Clippers, like a little system bucket, but that was a good push by Westbrook and the Nuggets. Westbrook trying to make Simmons' catch difficult. Now they get into their action. Simmons looking to hand off to Kawhi, gives it up top. They'll set the screen for Bogdanovic. Good switching by the Nuggets here. Late clock. Leonard has to fire, and Westbrook was looking for the screen, turned his head, and Leonard just fired over him. Now Gordon going one-on-one at Kawhi. I question the wisdom of this. But the second foul on Kawhi Leonard in this stretch.
Yeah, on the bump. And I want to see this again to see whether I agree with it as a call.
Yeah, I mean, that's not good enough from Russell Westbrook there. Kawhi Leonard is not going to blow by you. If a screen is part of the reason he's backed off is because they're switching and he doesn't want the switch man to get beneath him, the guy setting the screen. But late clock there, you can't just let Leonard fire over you without even getting a hand up. Murray has returned after about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Here's a corner 3 by Watson. That's a big shot for them. They took away the cut and the post up by helping off Watson. He couldn't make him pay. Now Leonard working through Watson. He's too strong for him.
And Gordon, I think, needs to react to that, especially when he's guarding Ben Simmons. You don't need to do anything on Ben Simmons there. Just get over to Kawhi.
Watson fouled Derek Jones Jr. setting the screen, and been a pretty friendly whistle for the Nuggets here in this quarter. Yeah, here you see Leonard just able to get right to his spot against Watson. Watson contested him, but at that range, it's not going to matter.
And that was another defensive mistake by Bogdanovic, who's really been flammable here. He had a couple of fouls and then gave up that cut to Pickett.
So this is already in the bonus here for Denver?
No, that was the third foul on the Clippers. Bogdanovic reached, and I think they said that Murray was in the shooting motion.
Okay. Murray missed the first free throw, gets the second. Denver defense not looking any stouter here in the second. Here's Leonard into the lane underneath. Simmons wasn't ready. Simmons says throw it up there, so there's no possibility that I could catch it underneath and be fouled before I could.
Trae Young might be there. Got to be sure.
I mean, I don't know about you, Danny. Jokic has been out for a while, and he has a way of figuring things out, but I'm very worried right now if I'm a Denver fan.
Their defense has been so bad.
It's been awful. Offensive foul. Gordon shoves Simmons off the ball. So the referees making their whistles heard here early in the second. And really, that's actually Watson tripping Simmons way outside the cone of his body on that screen. Did they get Gordon or they get Watson there?
They called it on Gordon.
Yeah, it was actually really Watson who tripped him first. They missed that part of it. Nice double team by Westbrook there behind Kawhi. Westbrook on the push. Simmons did well to get back and strip him, and Westbrook can't believe a foul wasn't called. He's close to a technical here.
That Westbrook steal was the same one that Dyson Daniels tried on Wiggins, getting a guy with his back to him. I mean, not quite. That was a spin move, but pretty much the same idea.
That was clean, too.
It was.
I don't know what Westbrook. Maybe he got hit afterwards. So now it's Leonard on Westbrook. This Clippers going to do a lot of switching here. Porter Jr. fires from the corner. Westbrook couldn't keep the rebound alive.
Push it, Simmons.
Clippers doing well in the non-Zubats minutes here, too. That was a question I had. Powell blow by underneath Simmons. Kicks out. Batum has all day. Way short. Simmons on the rebound. Powell. Tough step back there. I thought he had an angle. Batum runs down the rebound. This is just not good enough by Denver, but somehow the Clippers throw it away. Simmons, and I thought Simmons actually kind of compromised himself there. Ty Lue's going to get a timeout because Simmons went for sort of the fake hustle play instead of just staying in position. It's kind of funny, though. The Clippers got a bunch of rebounds because the Nuggets weren't even moving, and they lucked into it because Watson had leaked out.
Something that's bothering me about Simmons offensively during this stretch is that he's hot potatoing the ball even when that's totally unnecessary. Like the Clippers aren't anywhere close to the bonus, and sometimes you need your players to open up, and like you don't need to be frantic with the ball just because you have it. And he, considering his previous experience, going back a lifetime to when he actually like ran an offense at times, I want to see him be a little bit more patient in certain circumstances.
Well, but he might get fouled, Danny.
I guess.
Don't you understand that?
So right now it's a 10-7 for the Clippers during the roughly 4 minutes that Jokic is sat. I mean, this game is not going well for the Nuggets, but I would say the non-Jokic minutes have gone pretty well for them.
Yeah, and part of that I think is the Clippers haven't been all that aggressive either. They didn't come back with Zubats. He's been out for a little bit here. I guess he's only been out for 6 minutes. Why do I think that I keep making that mistake that these guys have been out for
time dilation?
They have been, yeah, time dilation.
Do the Clippers actually need Simmons out there? I don't think they do. Especially, I had thought that they might go with Batum at center there, but they also just don't have that many other guys. Like, okay, so if you're going to take out Simmons, it could be Amir Coffey or like, cause you don't really want to extend Harden. You want Dunn's minutes to connect with Jamal Murray. So it is a little bit thorny, but I don't think you need Ben Simmons out there. He's had some good moments, but his offensive limitations are a huge problem.
Yeah, he is +7. And considering that he's replacing Zubats, that's not bad. I think maybe this group is basically Jarek Jones Jr. at the 2, no point guard. And it's a huge lineup that can do some switching. I think, honestly, this group should be defending better than it has. I don't know how it is that the Nuggets, like there just have been some transition, some turnovers, couple of little flubs where they gave up passes like that little slip to Pickett. They should be able to defend a little bit better than that.
Why is that graphic so much harder to read than it needs to be? That's fun.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It really is. They just don't like filling out their rectangles with graphics.
So Kawhi has 2 fouls, Harden has 2 fouls, Bogdanović has 2 fouls. No one on the Nuggets, no one else in the game has more than one.
Yeah, Kawhi getting those 2 cheapo fouls is not great. But Kawhi has been very efficient here in this stretch. He only had 2 points when he went out in the first as Harden was cooking. Now, Harden has returned after only a 4-minute rest. Jokic is back for the Nuggets. Simmons remains on the floor. No Zubats yet. Nuggets going zone. Kawhi, look out. That is a complete blow-by there. Not a matchup you want to be in. And we've seen some guys on the perimeter struggle to beat Jokic, and Jokic is immediately going to get a foul here on Simmons. They're trying to go to the solution of maybe being more physical against Jokic, denying him position, denying him the ball, but Jokic gets fouled off ball more than anyone in the NBA. Back to this, though. Kawhi Leonard is not going to be worried about attacking Jokic, particularly if you can, when Jokic can lay back and play the angles, I think he could be pretty good. If he is going forward to try to close you out, it's going to be a problem. Simmons out, Zubats in. Murray kicks back out. Watson above the break. Harden dares him, and then Watson throws it away. Awful.
It was mistimed by Watson. He didn't realize that Jokic was moving the other direction.
Now Leonard working on Brown. Is he going to be too big for him? First time we've seen this matchup. Murray trying to gap. He cuts through. Leonard getting to his spot. Tough fadeaway. Almost made it. That was good defense by Brown, though. Here's the push by Murray. He's got Jokic on his right. Spins in. Oh, almost brought the crowd to his feet with a ridiculous layup. Now they throw it ahead. Jones Jr. going in. Missed it. Good defense vertically by Brown without fouling. Brown gets right back into the play. Good job by Jones Jr. getting back, too. Jokic on the cut. Oh, he got the face cut on Zubats. Wanted the foul. Didn't get it. He's going to sprint back. Good job by him getting back into the play, too, instead of complaining. But Zubats has really deep position, and Watson, no choice there. Well, I wouldn't say no choice, but he did foul him.
Something else to note, that was the fourth foul in the Clippers, the one Simmons on Jokic. So the Nuggets are shooting free throws for the rest of this quarter. We'll see if they can get some non-shooting fouls to turn into shooting fouls. Jokic draws a ton of non-shooting fouls, and so now those become free throws for him. And physical strength is going to be such a big story in this series. We thought about it with Kawhi and how you defend him, but Peyton Watson might end up being another part of that because Watson is a very good defensive player, but there aren't as many places for him to excel, like in kind of man-to-man defense. He'll need to be more of a rover because he's not strong enough to defend Kawhi. And then he could do, like, I'd be interested in some of the stuff he might try to do with Harden, but defending Harden is a completely different thing.
Well, and then also getting stuck in the switch on Zubats, too. I would have liked for him. Zubats just missed them both, by the way. He's actually, that's the one area of his game that seems like it's fallen off a little bit. I think he used to be more reliable from the line. Check the actual stats on that at some point. Murray. Dunn got through the screen nicely. They'll rescreen. Murray moving without the ball. That's a spot up long, too. Clippers will take that. Like, Clippers can outscore that shot.
So Zubats shot, yeah, he mostly was in the like high 70s, low 80s, but then he's gone more into the high 60s, low 70s recently, last couple of years.
Harden gets the switch of Gordon onto him, throw it to Zubats. Oh, what a dunk that was! Inside position. This work by the Nuggets of trying to keep Jokic out of the action on the back line hasn't really worked. Now there's that late switch again. Dunn guarding Jokic. Zubats is stuck on the perimeter. Jokic goes right through him and scores that. I don't know how tenable that is, particularly if Zubats can't switch back out from Murray. But here's transition. Powell, Dipsy 2, good defense by Jokic. Here's Porter Jr. going to his left. Not an advantage matchup against Kawhi. Jokic against that long arm of Kawhi, left it short. 2-on-1, look out. Too easy, way too easy. David Edelman has to talk about this. That was atrocious transition defense. And I put some of that on Jokic too. You take a three-pointer there, he needs to start getting back earlier. You shouldn't give up a 2-on-1 when you take an above the break three.
I hadn't appreciated how good a seal that was with Zubats on Jamal Murray.
Oh, it was beautiful, and Harden is a great entry passer. Like, those two have an awesome chemistry.
Yeah, when it feels like whenever you give up a transition to the Clippers, you call a timeout because they never get it. Let me see if there are any interesting stats now. Denver's first shot half court dropped so both teams were around 1.2 per play in the first part of the game. The Denver, partially because of the non-Jokic minutes, all the way down to 0.8 per half court transition play.
Yeah, getting a lot of questions about the future of Denver or the Bucks. They lose the series. We'll get to those in time. I think I would rather focus on what's happening in front of us for right now. Matt Moore said the Nuggets were a favorite. Hey, this idiot commentator picked the Nuggets too.
So did I.
Yeah. Now let's not go crazy here with game one Harden. It's the biggest reason I ultimately went there was I wasn't sure about Harden, but this is a much easier matchup, as I noted, than the series in which Harden has failed in the past.
And I mean, somebody brought it up on YouTube about how, or no, it was on playback. I was on playback Nifoon about how Denver, there were the recriminations on Denver 2 games of the Minnesota series, and they absolutely could have won that one in game 7. So yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, they were up 20 in the second half of that game 7, and they looked absolutely dominating in games 3 through 5 of that series against. I mean, Jokic in that game 5 had one of the best playoff games I've ever seen in my life.
Dion says, don't know how the Nuggets defense gets significantly better. Having a better plan and or executing their plan will make it look a lot better. This isn't just a personnel thing. And, the Harden was getting left. Harden was getting straight to the backboard. They did a little bit better about that later on, slowed him down a little bit. And then, of course, he made some tough threes.
Well, I think they just need to do a better job of packing the paint than they have been. And that's the big problem. The Clippers have just been getting a ton at the basket, and they've been letting Zubats get off as well. I think they just need a more conservative, higher floor approach to their defense. Uh-oh. Oh, Murray tweaked his right ankle here. Oh, that's not good. Doesn't look like it's going to be too bad. Let's see. Oh, he does. Yeah, so he gets kind of... This one I don't think is too awful. He kind of...
He didn't plant. He didn't kind of plant on it.
Well, yeah. So he's going to stay in the game. So that's good to see. But he always isn't the smoothest mover to begin with. But yeah, that's unlucky. He just ran into the big foot of Kawhi and sprained his ankle a little bit. I don't think that one is too bad. Wait, is that true? The Clippers have 34 points in the paint right now? Jesus
yes, that is
Christ.
true. Yeah, they're 9 of 10 in the restricted area, 8 of 16 in the upper paint.
Yeah, Zubats chucking with Jokic. Jokic tried to move off the ball, and Jokic, I thought, got fouled there too. Like he got fouled twice on that, I would say. They are trying to be physical with him off the ball. He, of course, is very good at drawing those off-ball fouls. Good pressure by Jokic on Zubats. He clearly has been challenged to be more physical, it would seem, by the coaching staff. But then they just totally lose Kawhi. That was an easy shot. Here's the push by Murray. Kawhi picking him up late. Murray on the drive. He's got to finish that one. The pass was not there.
Zubats' right hand was there too. I think that might have been blocked if it had gone up.
Straight post up here for Jokic, totally clearing out the side of the floor. Bring someone over here. Jokic working on the baseline, and this will be an offensive foul. He hooked him with the left arm.
That's a tough one because I think they could have called it either way, and you can't really do a no call. Yeah, the hook is
Yeah,
there though.
that's a
Yeah,
good
that's
call.
a good
That's a
call.
good call. And I like the reason that happens is because Zubats, and this would be an offensive foul on Zubats. Yeah, this is a great vet move by Jokic because whenever these guys, if you feel like you're getting screwed by the referees, yeah, this is all Jokic's brain right here. He felt like he was getting screwed by the referees, so he baited Zubats and then decided to fall down. Jokic, pick and roll Gordon. Oh, it's too good. Too good. That's just yet another way for this brilliant offensive player to attack. Oh, the post up didn't work? Great. Zubats didn't know what play they're running. Now they get Harden going to his left. Dunn couldn't handle it. That should have been a dunk. Instead, back to Zubats, but because Dunn flubbed that pass, it was a harder shot. Zubats, great job getting back here to kick out Leonard to the perimeter. He helps on the back cut. Jokic on the attack. Forced left, though. Oh, that was a great pass, but Dunn intercepted it. Dunn, did he save it? Oh,
No.
Powell wasn't ready. And Powell knows it too. Look at him bent over right there. He was not ready to make the play. He also, though, I think part of why he's down though is he actually got elbowed by Jokic. That's why he was kind of out of it there. Murray switched onto by Zubats. Now this Dunn in the post against Jokic. Jokic, tough fader. Dunn was ready for it. That's good defense by Chris Dunn. They are doing a really nice job of keeping Jokic off that left shoulder, or at least making it really hard when he does go left shoulder. Harden. That was a flop by Porter Jr., and Harden couldn't get the three. Clippers starting to miss some good shots now. They've been on 51 for some time. Oh, great defense by Harden. And they're going to give a foul, though. I thought
Oh, I don't think that was a foul.
Yeah, maybe he just hit the arm, and this will be free throws instead. I don't know if Ty Lue would consider a challenge here. This would be the third on Harden, too. Yeah, it's foul.
Yeah, got him on the wrist.
Pretty
There
obvious.
we go. Refereeing is hard. They got it right. And that is the third on Harden.
How's the Nuggets shot chart looking, Danny? Nuggets only 40 points here through 21 minutes.
5 of 8 restricted area, 5 of 12 upper paint, 2 of 6 mid-rangers, and then they've taken all but 2 of their threes have been above the break. They're 2 of 10 on those.
Yeah, not really the shot chart of a healthy offense, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. They haven't. I guess they've turned it over 6 times, but they've mostly been dead ball. But yeah, I agree. It hasn't, especially considering this is a Jokic team.
2 straight misses from Gordon, who's built himself up into an 80% free throw shooter after some early career struggles. They force Powell to the left. Oh, there's a steal by Brown. More Clippers flubs here. I think the Clippers have largely gotten pretty good opportunities in this stretch. They've been stuck on 51 and just haven't converted. Nine-point game. Westbrook is closing the half here now in place of Porter Jr. Dunn will set the screen. They've got Jokic on Dunn. Harden takes the three. Zubats trying to get on the glass. He does. Jokic was out of the floor. Zubats, he blew a lefty easy one. Westbrook got his pass deflected, went right back to him. Brown on the cut. Dunn got the strip. That guy's brilliant. Right back to Gordon. Gordon stays on it.
And this Nuggets run continues, even though it looked like things were going a little poorly. Zubats missed 2 shots. He should have made at least one of those. 8-0 run.
Yeah, the Clippers are still getting good shots, though. I don't think they need to be too worried. They do need to get it into Kawhi's hand. Jokic switches on to him. See, Norm Powell, this is bad recognition there. You've gotten Nikola Jokic guarding Kawhi Leonard. They're going to get a foul on Jokic here. You've gotten Nikola Jokic guarding Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi is running back out to the river, give him the ball back.
And let him attack. Yeah.
Yeah. And is this going to be just a break or is this a challenge? No, not a break or a challenge.
And it's Jokic's
foul
third.
on Jokic.
Yeah.
Bogdanovich has come in for the Clippers. I think an acknowledgement that they're struggling to score a little, and Leonard is going to sit down.
Yeah, so this is no Harden and no Kawhi.
So this is, yeah, and this is an attempt to avoid Kawhi picking up his third. Of course, do not agree with it. Powell forced left. Jokic in the pocket. Got the steal. Finally, Christian Brown has it. Jones picking up Jokic. Jokic works his way in. Double team. Wide open three. Oh, Zubats ran him off. Beautiful job. Now they still got plenty of time on the clock. Westbrook in the corner. Fires the immediate three. And it does drop.
Clippers should not change their coverages just because he made that shot.
No. Well, Jokic, that's a good trust there by Jokic. Finds him in the corner. Like, if the coach is going to put the guy in the game, you pass him the ball. It's up to the coach to take the guy out. You make the right play. Backing down, it's Zubats. Westbrook coming over. This will be an illegal defense on Jamal Murray.
Yeah, he veered in trying to stop it. That is a good call. I also think that the Clippers need to be more aware of Russell Westbrook ball watching. Bogdanovich could have had an open three there too.
Adelman is adamant that that was not a defensive 3 seconds. I thought Murray was hanging out there for a while, probably as another missed free throw in this game. Probably Adelman's point was that a Clipper came through, which would have cleansed him if he was in close enough position to him. Again, we've now got Jokic guarding Chris Dunn. This is a pretty offensive lineup here for Ty Lue. Dunn and Jones together. Here's Powell. Splits it. Big play there to score with this group. They finally break the scoreless drought. That was, like 4 minutes? Murray goes at Zubats, who deflected it, whether that was a pass or a shot. I think a shot. Do they slow it down here, the Clippers? Yeah, Lue getting away with a positive.
That's turnover.
Oh, it's a turnover. Good pressure by Murray. Murray saying he got fouled going the other way. This is a beautiful split going past the great hands of Jokic, who with the 3 fouls maybe wasn't as aggressive as he normally would be. I love David Adelman sticking with Jokic here with the 3 fouls, by the way. So that was a big turnover. Nuggets now can get the last shot of the quarter.
So, Nate, that Clippers scoreless jag was 4 minutes and about 40 seconds.
That's a very long time. And I don't even think their offense was that bad during that period, though. They just missed some decent shots. They weren't getting unbelievably easy shots, but they're going to pre-switch this now with Batum. Dunn. Oh, he got through the screen. They miscommunicated. Murray didn't take advantage. And yep, that is a Jokic special right there. Couple of flops now. He knows when guys are going to try to deny him position. And that's absurd. Now, this does give the Clippers a chance to come back. They should put Harden and Kawhi back in right now.
Absolutely.
We'll see whether they do that in between the free throws. That's when the subs can't. Jokic hits this, and yeah, it looks like we are going to get Harden back in. Why do they still have Dunn in right now?
I have no idea.
And why
they have Derek Jones Jr. too.
I mean, maybe they just, maybe Robbie's point. I was going to make the same point that maybe just putting Kawhi in for 5 seconds, given his physical issues, is not something you want to do. They'll get it into Powell. Harden points it in his direction. Westbrook going to keep him off the right hand. Powell drives hard. Got it stolen from behind. Great defense by Westbrook. And it'll be a 53-49 first half here. Clippers give up most of the lead, but still have a 4-point advantage. And we'll be back for the second half. All right, I guess we're back. I was busy editing my
I'm not hearing you right now if you're talking, Nate.
uh
Oh, there we go.
yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, we are back. All very instant quick attack, getting to the foul line. Clippers fouling big issue. Kawhi had a couple of bad fouls. And Harden in foul trouble. Kawhi, yeah, 2 fouls, but got taken out towards the end of the second quarter anyway. So down to a 2-point game. Clippers have 2 points in a very long time.
About 5 minutes.
Powell done above the break. Oh man, I mean, if
Ooh.
he's going to make that, it's going to be problems for Denver. Yeah, Dunn has 10 points. He had a perfect game against Golden State too in his last outing. Now Murray stepping back on Zubac on the late switch. Murray hasn't really been able to hurt Zubac there. I think that strategy, I would say, has worked pretty well for LA. Now Leonard against Braun gets to his spot. Good help by Jokic. Leonard still working to his spot. Braun stopped it, but that was all Jokic with great defense helping and not giving up the pass to Zubac. Kawhi going to try again. Spins into the lane. Help from Murray. Powell wide open 3. Off the heel. That was a good shot, though. This is a post up by Gordon on Harden with the 3 fouls. Good recognition by he and the passer to get that deep seal.
And James Harden, after that blazing first quarter, 0 for 2 in the second quarter.
Totally open side pick and roll. Zubac's left-handed hook shot. A rarity going right shoulder from that range for him. But Clippers offense starting to generate the good shots again. Jokic at the elbow. Screening action here. They've now got Norm Powell on Gordon, and they're putting Harden on Braun due to the foul trouble. They should look to get Gordon some more post-ups against Powell or some quick cuts involve Powell in screening action. Oh, yeah, Jokic, that was beautiful. He had him set up for that move the entire time. He knew that Zubac was keeping off the left shoulder, so he turned right. He knew Zubac was going to fly at him to take away that right shoulder fadeaway, and he ducked under Michael Jordan style. That same side up and under is such a great move. Done, left wide open. Finally a miss from him. Here's Porter Jr. He's got Braun trailing. Porter Jr. went inside the arc, and great job by the Clippers getting back. Oh, nice cut. Oh, Powell took it away. That was good defense by Powell off that split cut action. Here's Gordon going right at Zubac, and Zubac defended it well without fouling. Here's the push. 3-on-2. Harden on the opposite side. Fires the spot up 3. Good job by him getting his feet set.
And it rattled in, but that was a good read. It was a 3-on-2. Find the open man.
And blocking foul on Harden, his 4th. That was foolish by him. He had the right idea. Gordon was going to be very aggressive, trying to duck down, but he just wasn't in a position here. Look at it. He's on the side. Just let him go. That was a foolish decision by Harden. 4th foul on him, and they've already taken advantage of him some. And I think it's just going to get worse now. They have to hide him on Braun. They've got Powell on Porter Jr. They're finally going Leonard on Gordon. I don't know why they didn't do that to begin with, honestly. Jokic one-on-one. Sombor shuffle stopped by Zubac. That was great defense.
Fantastic positioning. Was as good of a contest as you can get on that shot.
Absolutely. Harden gets Braun switched onto him. Forced towards the baseline. Harden tries to go through the arm of Jokic. Didn't get it, but everyone deactivated, and Zubac got the rebound. Forcing Murray to his left here. Pick and pop. Done with the late contest. That's all day for Jokic.
And Jokic, I mean, he's going to have that shot more with Zubac in the game, but I mean, he was. Oh, somebody's saying foot on the line. We'll find that out.
Back down by Zubac. Now he's going to set the screen away instead. Harden tells everyone to get out of the way, but he's holding the ball so long here. They bring help, and then Harden just draws the foul on Porter Jr. It just not good enough for Michael Porter Jr. Yeah, here's that great defense by Zoo on the Sombor shuffle. Left-handed, yeah, you got to contest that shot with your left hand, not your right, if you're going to have any hope. Zubac's having an all-defense caliber performance here tonight. Why do players put their forearm on known foul grifters? Because they just don't have the discipline. It's just natural. I mean, if anyone who's ever played basketball, if you feel like the guy is going to get by you, what's the first thing you do? I'm going to put my arm out and try to just redirect you a little bit, slow you down. And because they're just, nobody wants that feeling of getting blown by. But especially with these guys, the way the game is called, what you have to do is just show both your hands and run alongside him. Make the shot difficult.
And so nice response from Harden offensively with 5 points after an offer in the second quarter.
Good pressure by Dunn. Here's the screen, late switch. Jokic, he got that flop on Dunn earlier. Double team Kawhi. Oh, it's so good.
And Jokic being able to turn back the other way when the double comes, that's incredible.
Yeah, and Dunn, not used to defending in the post, not knowing where the double team is coming from, you got to force him into that double team. Harden has Murray. Braun trying to come over in more of a drop. Braun with good defense. Dunn set up. He's going to go right in. Can't finish, though. Jokic on the push. We haven't seen him bring it up much. Kawhi is now on Gordon, so they couldn't get the post up. Instead, Murray. Dunn came over and disrupted. Murray still on the ball. And now he gets it stolen by Powell. Powell's going to get a transition dunk. Back to an 8-point game. Clippers had 8 turnovers in that second quarter. If they can avoid that, their offense is run pretty on time. Murray working with Jokic again. Dunn back in a position behind the back. Zubac maybe lingered a little too long there. I thought Dunn had him under control. Zubac could have got back, but that's such a hard read to make. Zubac finding Dunn. Dunn got scared by Jokic. Back out to Harden. Late clock. Harden blows by Jokic. Leaves it for Zubac. Zubac off the backboard too hard. He's missed some chances to finish inside. Jokic tried to post up deep. They didn't get him the ball. Now he's got it at range. Backing in. Gets off the ball. He's looking a little tired. So is Zubac, just leaning on him like a boxer. Zubac does get the stop. Both those guys are exhausted. Kawhi tried to save it off the rebounding action, and Denver did well to keep it alive. Porter Jr. and everyone is tired here at the under 7 timeout. Adam asks, which stream are you watching? Watching International League Pass, don't see the same replays. Yeah, we're watching the stream they're giving us in terms of replays is the Clippers local feed. However, if you subscribe to International League Pass, you could just throw this on playback and just watch it all in one window. You don't have to sync up. Just going to take a quick break at this time out here.
Mark asks, how does someone like Chris Dunn get lost in the NBA since being drafted? And I mean, he's been a wonderful defensive player since he was at Providence, but it was that players who are point guard sized, and Chris Dunn listed at 6'3", who can't run an offense and aren't reliable shooters, so we're talking volume and success rate. You need a lot for them to really succeed. And players like that, first of all, it often takes them time to find the parts of their offense that are to improve their deficiencies. And just players like that can't fit in everywhere else. And so you could be that's why Caruso developing the 3-point shot last year was so important. And a lot of these guys, I think Caruso's also he's, one hell of a defender. And so for Dunn, the other part of it is, it generally takes time to find a role when you're a high drafted guy who then has to become a role player. Like that is an awkward transition. Chris Dunn got traded during that time, and so you just kind of have to figure it out. And so it's not a surprise to me to figure all that out. From Andy, have not watched a lot of Kawhi the last few months. Seems like he's less on ball than past years. I think he is for now. We'll see if he gets it more. He actually didn't have the ball in his hands a lot during crunch time of their win over the Warriors either. But I think that was more just because other things were working, other guys were going. But like Kawhi, yeah, I mean he barely touched the ball in a lot of the first quarter. He's been a little bit more active.
Since 2000, whose prime do you wish coincided between Duncan, Shaq, Jokic, and Giannis?
Duncan and Jokic would have been so much fun to watch.
I mean, I would say Jokic and Shaq. Probably a pretty good argument. Kareem is in this too, of the three best offensive big men ever.
I just want to see
how. Sorry, I mean, Domantas Sabonis got to be in that conversation too.
Of course, double doubles, man. Yeah, like Brazel said, what I was thinking, which is watching Duncan defend Jokic. Like I would have loved to have seen how that would have worked.
I think Jokic would have beat him up because I think he'd be too strong for him. All right, so let's take a little breather here. Crazy action. It's 14-14 in this quarter. What are we looking for in this next stint?
Which team can get a few system buckets? We Denver had real trouble in the very beginning of the game, gotten a few since then, and then can the Clippers get anything close to the offense they had in that first quarter?
Harden potentially getting his fifth foul.
Sure.
And Murray gets a foul on Dunn. The Nuggets continuing to get to the foul line. That's been a huge aspect for them. Dunn has the hand over Murray. Good call here.
Yeah, Murray stopped short a little bit, but the hand was already there. That's a good call. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Clippers fouls. The only person who's truly in trouble is Harden with 4, but could be another quarter where the Nuggets get in the bonus a little bit early.
Harden at range on the right elbow. They want to try to involve Kawhi off a screen by Zubac. Kawhi takes the 3. Westbrook has just come on. He'll try to juice the pace. Leonard got a hand on it and knocked it out of bounds.
Kawhi might be getting his break soon. Oh, I think I might.
Yeah, he is right now. Yeah, with 5:24 remaining here in the quarter.
And so then this becomes a stressful stretch for the Clippers because Harden, you need Harden to generate shots, but he's on the fringe of severe foul trouble.
Murray loses Dunn. They got the slight miscommunication there, but Murray couldn't get that free throw line jumper. Here's Zubac on the pocket pass, goes in, and he does finish with the left hand. Westbrook tried to come over and bother him, but he finished against Westbrook and Murray. Zubac also had the three-pointer in the corner on the weak side, too. Nick Batum is in now. He's guarding Aaron Gordon. Gordon slips through. Good help from Powell. Not good enough, though. And that's an easy dunk for Gordon. Great job. That Fred Katz wrote a great article about how Nikola Jokic will signal guys to cut basically with his eyes. It wouldn't shock me if he did it that time because that was a really hard cut from Gordon. Also, it was an ATO, so maybe they had that set up beforehand. Into the post, Zubac kicks out. Dunn being guarded by Jokic. Now Harden going after Jokic. Dunn swings it. Batum barely got it off. Even the no dip might not have been quick enough. Missed that. Here's the push. Dunn didn't want to take that open 3. Jokic on Dunn has worked okay. Now that's money right there. I thought on that pocket pass to Jokic on the floater, but he left it short. Zubac maybe bothered him again. Ivica Zubac has been doing about as good as you can do, I would say, against Nikola Jokic. Harden tried to draw the foul. Lucky bounce right to Zubac, who wasn't really in rebounding position. Harden looking at the referee. He's going to try Murray again. Harden on the drive. Floats it up off the glass. That's the type of shot they want James Harden taking. Murray on the drive into Powell. Oh, off his leg, I thought.
Oh, that should be Clippers ball.
They're going to review this. I think they're going to win the challenge. I thought it went right off the left knee, or they're just going to change the call.
Yeah. And James Harden got these amazing shots right around the basket in the beginning of the game. I don't know that he's had another one since. They've all been a little bit further out. The Nuggets have really tightened that part of this up. Also, I think Harden, that's a lot of that was he was doing all of that driving to his left with his left hand, where he's so much more confident.
Yeah, and they're making him shoot a floater with the initial defender still in the picture and not getting all the way to the rim. This is the way I think they should defend him. Now Jokic is back on Zubac. Zubac's going right to the basket, and he's hammered. And they are letting James Harden get that pocket pass. That's been a big theme. Zubac's releasing to the rim out of pick and roll. Excuse me, that was not Harden. That was a nice pass by Norm Powell. They're trying to make Zubac make the play out of the short roll. He's done a pretty good job of it.
And even though the Clippers have committed a significant number more fouls than the Nuggets have, I guess it's only 14-10. The free throw disparity is not that severe. These will be not 8 and 9 for the Clippers compared to 15 for the Nuggets. Not that different.
Yeah, and I would be willing to let Norman Powell go to his left hand out of pick and roll without being so far up that you're going to let him throw that pass to give Zubac a 4-on-3 going downhill. Dunn is replaced. Zubac's missing another free throw. Still a 4-point lead. It's basically been that the entire quarter. Murray and Jokic have gone the whole way here in this quarter. Split cut action. Murray right to the basket. Harden could not help because he didn't want to pick up his fifth, but the split cut action, Jones Jr. got hit in the face as the screen was set and never got back into the play. Now Powell going to his right hand. Murray goes underneath. They'll rescreen this time to his left hand. Powell going to try to accelerate. Floater over Jokic. That's fine. I like that better. They didn't have Jokic up as high. You don't give up the easy release to the basket for Zubac. And if Powell wants to take a floater over Jokic, I'm okay there. Same action they just ran. Now Westbrook screens for Jokic. Jones Jr. is on him. He's going to back him down. Goes for the steal. Zubac comes over to help. Nice play. That was great defense by the Clippers. Awesome communication with Jones making Jokic spin. Zubac was right there with the spin. Jones then went underneath to take the guy that Zubac was on, and Batum got back out to the corner for the deflection. It's just so beautifully connected there by the Clippers.
And I really like Nicola Batum being close to the basket to mitigate the worst case scenario there, and then realizing that wasn't going to be the next move. And you didn't have to get all the way out to the guy. You just have to get out enough to try to slow it down, and you deflects it. And so now it's going to be side out.
Oh, man. I haven't been remotely disappointed by what we've seen so far. This is looking like it's going to be an unbelievable series.
The level of execution, like the threshold in this series in game one is just shockingly high for a game one of a first round series. That like the mistakes that are not tolerated and are just becoming either like a bad miss or 2 points is pretty striking.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really high level series. I'm curious to see what's going to happen when Ben Simmons comes in the game. I thought you had some pretty valid concerns about what it looked like for him offensively.
Got asked a couple of different ways about basically who would the Thunder want to play, who's a bigger threat.
I think the Clippers are a bigger threat to the Thunder. I wouldn't say it's actually that close. I think the Thunder match up really well with Denver.
I worry. So they have a lot of defender, like the limitations of Denver non-Jokic offensively are an interesting question. But and also they don't really have, unless I'm missing something, they don't have anybody for Shea, which is a problem. Wouldn't the Clips offense be rough? Yeah, it would be, but their defense could create some problems. They have a lot of players to throw at the Thunder, and I don't think and the Thunder, as much as people love Lou Dort, I don't think Lou Dort can hang with Kawhi.
Yeah. That's guarding Kawhi would be fascinating. Maybe they'd give Jalen Williams that job. But I think OKC, like Chris Dunn, is about as good as it gets, I would say, on Shea. This was a memory I had of going to Utah 2 years ago. There was a great Thunder Jazz game, and Chris Dunn guarding Shea was awesome theater. Obviously, a much different Jazz team at that point. We got a question too. Did you answer this one about like how Chris Dunn kind of slipped through the cracks?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I mean, the injuries were the biggest thing, I would say.
Well, and for a guy who's drafted high to be as limited offensively as he was, like you have to kind of figure that part of it out, and that takes time. From Super Nintendo, healthy Kawhi might be the single scariest playoff opponent I've ever seen. He's so good when he's on. And this hasn't been like the best Kawhi performance, but like we've gotten little signs of it.
Yeah, they haven't really given him the ball that much yet. There's Jokic going baseline. What? He almost made that.
So close.
Oh, and then he just got, wow, I can't believe he smoked that.
And he's a mile behind the play.
Yep, Harden has Batum wide open in the corner because Jokic couldn't get back into it. That is a huge swing right there. I can't believe Jokic missed that little bunny over Harden. They got to keep going at Harden, though, on those plays under the rim. Harden usually will be a little physical. Harden just hands on his knees right now guarding Watson. Yeah, they try to get Harden involved in the screen action. Harden just hanging out in the lane. They should have a defensive 3 seconds on Harden, actually. And then Jokic gets stopped again.
That was a good deflection by Simmons.
Yeah, this has been pretty good defense against Jokic. This is a lot of size that they have out here right now. It's Batum guarding Jokic. Zubac is out, and Jokic goes right to work. I don't love taking Zubac out here. I think you should be matching up his minutes with Jokic. They have a plan against Jokic right now, but also this group is such a bad shooting group that I don't think you take advantage of him defensively. He can hide out on Simmons, so I think we're going to get a hold on Brown up top.
As long as they don't call this a shooting foul. If they do, I'm walking to Denver. Good.
Harden at range against Pickett. Pickett trying to force the baseline. Brown is hanging out at the nail. They are really loading up. Harden just takes the 3. No foul call. Tipped out by Simmons, but Harden was down. It goes right to Pickett. Watson into the post, and we'll get another foul here. This should be...
I think that's 4. Let's see. I think that's 4. If I counted right.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, this box score is ahead of where we are. That I'm looking at. Jokic posting up again. Should be a 3 seconds. He had that left foot in the lane the whole time. Brown smoked the layup. Now it's really been, and Jokic says that it's Denver ball. This really has been Denver missing the opportunities now at the rim.
And Adelman is challenging it.
Yep, clearly off the right hand of Harden. They'll keep this. Oh, do I think Ty Lue is a bit overrated as a playoff coach? I do think that because There have just been so many series where he's gone down 2-0.
And Ty Lue deserves some credit for the Cavs comeback in 2016, but there are a lot of other non-coaching reasons why they won that series. He did a good job.
Well,
but
and frankly, they just weren't ready and didn't compete in the first 2 games of that series.
Mhm.
And I would say the same in 2021 against Dallas when they went down 0-2. Their process was awful. My memory was that they were just making so many obvious mistakes.
So we'll do the long term stuff for. That's a good one from Ben. How is David Alderman looked so how fared in his first game? I thought the Nuggets defense was terrible, process and execution in the very beginning of the game. They were letting Harden go left. They were here we go. Yeah. Oh, Nate, that's a good question for you. I don't know if we'll have the time to fully answer it. So DMR asks, are there any coaches who are better in a playoff series? You know, the idea that the crucible helps them.
I'd say Rick Carlisle. I'd say Steve Kerr.
Nick Nurse.
Yeah, maybe so. I didn't think he was amazing last season. So Denver down
maybe.
by 5 here. It's been a defensive quarter. Jokic working off the ball again. They'll switch this. He wants to get deep post position. Instead, Westbrook takes the jumper with 6 on the clock. Bogdanovich rebounds. They got to push it here for the 2-for-1. Powell wants it. Instead, they go Bogdanovich. This is too slow. Bogdanovich. Oh, Jokic got him in the pocket pass. Jokic pushing it. Powell trying to run him down. Jokic, so good.
And this, with a 3-second differential, this is the Nuggets shouldn't get a good shot here unless the Clippers go too early.
Clippers have blown some of these end of quarter situations. And Bogdanovich should have known that his Serbian teammate is one of the best at deflecting that pocket pass. Powell going to try Brown. Not really an advantage matchup for him. Steps back going left. Left it well short. More time for Westbrook. He's got 3 seconds down to 2. Gets it ahead. 3-pointer Brown on the right side.
Ooh.
Well short. And the Nuggets back into this one. They make up 1 point in the third quarter in the end.
And so now we get seemingly in every key Denver game, the definitive stretch of Jokic off the floor. I think this might be a short rest for him. If I had to predict it right now, I think it'll be 2 to 3 minutes.
How important is this game 1 to win for either of these teams?
I don't think this, to me, doesn't feel like a series where the team that loses it is just dead in the water. But especially for the Clippers, if they can get this, then if you get the split, you're happy with that. If you end up going up 2-0, then it's a huge advance. So I'd say it's and maybe that's also in part because I picked the Nuggets to win the series, but like it feels like if the Clippers win it, that's a huge add.
I think it's more important for Denver to win this than the Clippers. I think the Clippers have kind of outplayed them a little bit. They've had some weird foul trouble. They haven't even really tried to go Kawhi either.
Yeah, it's true.
I think they've been focused a little bit more on Harden, but Zubac has looked pretty good on defense. Didn't love not matching up Zubac at the end of the quarter with Jokic, but
is it hard to make yourself not overreact to game 1 of a series? Yes, it is. But the way that you do it is Nate and I both have kind of long memories of our own mistakes. And so you just kind of, oh yeah, remember that series where I thought it was over after game 1 and then all these other things happen. It's like those sorts of things, those usually temper it.
Yeah, well, the other thing you got to do is just try to not base it on just the quality of shots that teams are getting
Sure.
and the possession game as well, and just focus on what you think can reasonably be cleaned up and what can't.
Who do you think takes this game based on how it's gone so far? I'm tempted to say the Clippers because the non-Jokic minutes are still here. I think it's Denver. Denver was horrendous in a lot of ways at the beginning of the game. They've cleaned that up. I think they've been the better team since about the 6-minute mark, maybe the 8-minute mark of the first quarter. And so I'm going to lean on that more than I'm going to lean on these what I think are going to be few non-Jokic minutes.
Who takes this game based on how it's gone so far? It feels like the type of game that Denver somehow pulls out in the end.
Yeah, that's kind of my feel too.
It's like the Clippers, I think, should be up by a little bit more now. Maybe, and how aggressive is Adelman going to be bringing Jokic back in here? And also, is Kawhi going to do anything?
Worth noting, game 2 of this series is Monday. It is not. It is a shorter break than some of the series have. Some of the series have 2 days off. So I don't think you. I think you just kind of play to win this one, and then you'll have a larger break. But that it does loom a little larger.
Kawhi is back in. He's being guarded by Watson. I think that's a good matchup. They're going to run a screen for him. Kawhi's open underneath with Murray on him. They didn't look that way. Instead, they wanted to try to run a shooting set for Bogdanovic, and he's been awful. He just got it taken right out of his hands. Now Westbrook going at Jones, not a good decision. Just a wild attempt. Now Bogdanovic, can he finally get into the action here? Instead, Simmons, he's going to go at Westbrook. Spin move. Floater. What an odd shot.
Maybe it'd be better if he just passed the ball every time.
Now Murray, he's getting the minutes here. Missed the layup by Watson. Again, the Nuggets are going to smoke another layup. Murray is getting the minutes here to start this quarter. He didn't in the second.
And so Jamal Murray, what is he up to now? He's at 32 minutes and playing to start the fourth quarter. He'll get a break at some point, but
Kawhi going right at Watson. Help comes from Gordon. Underneath, Simmons is open. They don't throw it that way. Instead, it's opposite. Jones was not close on the three, but that was a duck of a pass. Here's Gordon going right in on Batum, and he's fouled.
And this could be, it's only the start, but this could be another early foul trouble for the Clippers getting the Nuggets in the bonus. It was something that we saw in the second quarter.
I think they need to get Zubac back in this game. He's played 27 minutes. And Simmons is just not a threat. It was such an odd decision by him to just go right at Westbrook. It ended up not being a good shot. Gordon does hit those 2 free throws, trending back to his 80% free throw shooting.
And Kawhi hasn't even touched the ball yet in this quarter.
No, he did. He just set up that 3 by
Jones. That's right. Sorry.
Split cut action, good pressure by Gordon against Simmons. Simmons hands off to Kawhi. Switched onto by Gordon. Kawhi going into Gordon, lost it, and he'll get a foul. Gordon chucked him and can't believe that foul was called.
And talked about how this game was extremely offensive early. Now, in terms of all possessions, we're at about a point per possession for both teams. So it has gone off a cliff since the 120, 130 at the beginning.
Is that a foul?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. If they're going to guard Kawhi with Watson, I would just run it through Kawhi every time. They're going to have to double team. Kawhi can get to his spot too easily. Now, part of the problem is that Gordon is on Simmons and he can help out, and Simmons isn't really a threat to finish around the basket. Murray, they get Bogdanovic on him. Now he's going to run pick and roll with Gordon. They want to get Gordon to the post on Bogdanovic, and they're going to get Bogdanovic for a hold on Gordon. Again, I don't like Gordon is just like, he's not actually trying to like move around him. He's just trying to run through him there. Like, it's one thing if he tries to post up from an angle and Bogdanovich is holding him. Like, he's just trying to push him out of the way. Now Murray on Bogdanovich again. Good switching off the ball by the Clippers. Murray pulling up on Bogdanovich. Good look. Couldn't get it. Kawhi with energy pushing up. Goes right past Porter Jr. Oh, the dunk in transition. He got hit on the head, too. He didn't get the call.
For a second, I thought he was doing the taunt of dunked on his head, but no, I think he said he got hit.
Split cut action. Clippers switching off the ball. Again, they're trying to get a matchup for Murray, but the Clips have a lot of good players out there. Now they finally pick out Bogdanovich. Murray crossing over, forced left. Tough jumper, well short. Rebounded by Bogdanovich, who did well to get back there.
And much, much better defense by Bogdanovich there than the early possessions on Murray.
Now Kawhi, pump fake on Watson. This is an advantage matchup. Westbrook's trying to come over and help. Bogdanovich cuts through. Kawhi pulling up over Watson, never really tried him. Jones Jr., beautiful rebound among two Nuggets, and they're going to get a foul on Watson diving into his foot.
I like to see Kawhi, when you have an advantage, force the defense to respond. And maybe you end up having to pass out something else, but I wish he was more aggressive there.
Yep.
And I think Jokic might be back soon. He may even be back here.
And there he is. But they're not going to go back to Zubac. I really question that. I really question not putting Zubac back in. He has 2 fouls. He's played 27 minutes. He went out before Jokic did. Double team on Kawhi. Kawhi trying to go right through Murray underneath. And again, like, if that's Zubac, that's a dunk. They throw it right to the front of the rim, and Zubac dunks it. Simmons can't do that. That's twice now they've double-teamed Kawhi and gotten away with it because Simmons is right under the basket but can't make the play. Now they're going to go at Bogdanovich again through Gordon. Back down. Kawhi is at the nail. Gordon going in. Good defense by Bogdanovich. They're going to get him for a foul here. I didn't see much. Maybe he had the arm forward.
I didn't see much there. I'd like to get a replay, but we probably won't.
Yeah, noted in the comments that one of those 2 times when Kawhi got doubled, he threw it to the corner, but that's because Simmons wasn't open to make the play. Like, Zubac is a huge target there, and they could have got it to him. Are they still not bringing Zubac in?
I didn't see him come in.
This is insane. I do think that they're kind of worried about the altitude. They're worried about it being a long series. They're worried about it, game 2 being a little more than 48 hours from now, but I don't think this is the right decision. You can go get this game. Simmons will set the screen for Kawhi. Double team. Simmons moving towards the basket. He swings it. Bogdanovich is open. They overreacted to Simmons. Bogdanovich has been awful, though. That's another guy that got to get out of the game right now. I think Lou is just showing a little too much trust here right now. This is going to be an offensive foul. Yep. Sorry, a defensive foul. Oh, a double foul is called. That's interesting. Whenever you see Jokic just starting to exaggerate his movements, let's watch it here. And Jokic did grab him. You can see Jokic will try to initiate the contact and then fall down. Now they are going to finally get Zubac back in. Bogdanovich out too. So they escaped a couple of those minutes here. 4th foul on Jokic. Harden is back with 4, replacing Bogdanovich. And no, they're still not going to Zubac.
Oh my God.
I can't believe it. Why are they? What is Ben Simmons doing to still be out here? Like, this is one of those things where, we're surviving right now, so we don't have to put him back in. We're buying some minutes. Like, no, go fucking win the game. There's an easy cut for a dunk. I wonder if anyone could have helped out on that play. And they had to just straight double team Jokic immediately because they don't trust any of the guys guarding him to handle him there. Here's Leonard. Tough fadeaway on Aaron Gordon. These two have matched up once before in a playoff series. It was 2019. Kawhi busted Gordon, but that was certainly a different type of team, a Magic team that didn't have a lot. It's a different Aaron Gordon as Murray again hits the three. They went at Simmons in pick and roll that time.
Yeah, great job shooting at the mesh point. No one was out there.
I can't believe they had those 2 stoppages and didn't bring in Zubac at either of them. Harden on the attack. Murray stays with him. Batum crashed into by Westbrook with 7 on the shot clock. Yeah. How does Simmons not get his hand up there?
I don't know.
Yeah, and now it's tied and Zubac is in, but they just blew it here. Like, Zubac has been out for quite some time. He's played 27 minutes in this game. Harden wanting to run some pick and roll at Jokic. Swing it to Batum. 3-pointer, huge shot by Nick Batum. Such a valuable player. And Jokic maybe just getting himself a little rest here.
Well, there was a little bit of a tie-up. I think it was with Batum.
Yeah, he got kind of tuned up. But hey, if you get hit in the face, you might as well go down.
No, it wasn't with Batum. He shot the 3. That's right. Well, we're not going to see it, apparently.
And Jokic has been teed up.
Ooh. Maybe now we'll get that replay. Nope. Clippers broadcast, probably not.
Yeah, well, things are still happening in terms of guys interacting, getting into each other. But yeah, it looks like we're not going to get a replay of it. See if I can go back and catch it. If you want to take a couple of questions here while I do that.
What if it's about more about Zubac at 10 minutes left versus the performance at 7? Like, basically the idea that he'll be worse if he has to play more minutes. That is a fair concern. However, Zubac hasn't played a ton of minutes overall in the game, and you get a series of stoppages just over the course. I think he would have been fine. You would have seen a little bit of a downgrade, but the other part is crunch time matters, but what the score is going into crunch time matters too. And so losing 3-4 points off of the margin that you should have had, that might be worth, and to me it is, a more tired Zubac in those last couple minutes.
All right, so I'm watching what's happening here. Let's see if I can even slow it down. Sorry, it's going to take a second here. Keep talking.
Enhance.
I'll break
enhance.
in when I got.
Yeah. How do you think Jamal Murray's looked outside of missing shots might be his legs? I think he's looked okay. I think that his offense has been pretty fine, and he hasn't been attacked. Some of that is Clippers process as much defensively as I'd feared. So I think, coming back from this hamstring thing, he's missing some shots. And I said this the game that we watched that we did. So Nate and I did the Nuggets regular season finale. I thought he looked good physically. It just wasn't, the certain things in that one weren't falling either. But no, I think relative to my concerns about a guy coming back from a hamstring injury, I think he's looked pretty good.
Yeah. So Jones Jr. went in to try to get the offensive rebound. Jokic was kind of shoving him under the rim. Jones, as he was being shoved under, just kind of flailed. And in flailing, he may, as far as I could tell, it was pretty far away, have hit Jokic in the chin, and then Jokic stalked after the official pretty aggressively and got teed up. Let's see if they show us a little bit more here. So yeah, here's Jokic going to shove Jones Jr., and now the right arm of Jones Jr., as Jokic shoves him again to get him out of the way because he's blocking him. And yeah, Jones then is like, hey, what am I who's shoving me? Just like get out of my way. And he did catch him with an elbow at that point. I
But
don't really know
there
that.
wasn't. It did seem like there was a ton of contact, and Jones went with his arm pretty much straight up rather than out. If he had gone out, I think they would have
Yeah,
called
I mean,
something.
I think it was inadvertent. Jokic is initiating the contact. He's like, he wants to get the ball in very quickly. Jones was in his way, kind of, but also was actually trying to make a play. Like, I don't expect Jones to just run out of his way in that circumstance. But big free throw. Now it's a 2-possession game. 6:41 left. Jones Jr. is in for Murray. I'm interested to see whether they go with Jones Jr. or Dunn down the end. I would probably go Dunn, actually. But it seems like the Nuggets don't want to put Jokic on Jones Jr. Jones Jr. just got a steal. Westbrook trying to run him down. Jones goes in. A wild finish attempt, but a foul called on Westbrook.
I didn't think that was sufficient contact watching it live, but I might have missed part of
Yeah,
it.
maybe he comes across his body. We didn't have the angle. That's great hands by the big wingspan of Jones. I mean, he does kind of get him with the body here.
Oh,
Yeah,
left hand.
yeah,
Left
the
hand.
left arm held down Jones's right arm. That's a good call.
Yep.
Big free throws for Jones. It's the first.
And like you, I think that Chris Dunn, I like him better. I think also think Dunn he's been pretty good offensively. He can make a little bit better decisions. But I mean, that was a great play by Derek Jones Jr.
Well, and also if the Nuggets are afraid to put Jokic on Jones Jr., but they aren't afraid to put him on Dunn, that's a reason to play Derek Jones Jr. Plus, Derek Jones Jr.'s got an awesome steal. That was a huge pick six out of the timeout screen for Jokic. Westbrook gets it to him at the left elbow. Open up the side for him. Backing down, you're trying to keep him off the left shoulder. Goes right in. Zubac's in the air. Jokic scores on him. Beautiful patience. They did not double team. I would like to see a little more help there because the whole side is open. You should be able to find a way to help without giving up a dunk here. Oh, nice pass.
What a pass.
That's the difference right there between Zubac and Harden that I was talking about. He's a huge target underneath. Late switch Zubac onto Murray. Jones trying to front Jokic. Murray looking to attack. Good cut. Brown. Nice finish. He's such a good finisher.
Harden had an opportunity on a dig there, but I think he's still a little deactivated because of the foul trouble. He could have got, and that's a dig that Harden actually makes kind of a lot, just like an opportunistic steal attempt.
Yeah, that's ugly to give up that cut. And Harden just lost it.
Yeah.
He tried to go around Jokic in the aggressive pick and roll defense. Yeah, here again, Jokic and Murray miscommunicate on the back line, and Harden saw that immediately. Here's Murray's three-pointer. That's good.
Huge shot.
1 point game. 5 straight for Denver now. Harden slow to get it across. Goes into Murray. Kicks it out. Batum, can he save it? Barely. Good job by Harden getting back to give him a passing angle. He'll try Murray again. Late clock. Harden wants to go step back here. Gets off the ball. Batum wasn't in shooting position. And he drains the three somehow. What footwork that was.
Oh, I mean,
by the way, 0 comments in the spoilers, please. You will be banned from commenting if you comment something that has not happened on our screen yet. 4-point game. Harden switching on to Murray. This is what they want to go to now. Harden, they miscommunicate. Kawhi, good help off of Brown. Now it's going to be Jokic trying to back down Harden. Kawhi looking to help again. This time Batum comes over. They'll leave Gordon open for 3, and Jokic sees it immediately. And Gordon, one of the big questions I had about him, is that above the break 3 shooting going to work? It did. Another 3-pointer right back, and it's a 1-point game.
Oof. Would you make any changes to the closing lineups for either of these teams? Worth noting that right now Westbrook is in and Michael Porter Jr. is out. I personally would go starting 5 for the Nuggets, and let's see. I'm debating because there's also the question. It's not only Derek Jones or Dunn. It's also Batum versus Powell is another question. Powell hasn't been very good in this game to me.
Yeah, that's interesting. This is a big group for the Clippers right now. But I think we've seen what the big strategy is going to be for Denver down the end. The whatever positional equivalent you want to call Harden, a 1-4-5 pick and roll, get Harden onto Murray. They're always going to switch that, and then you go into the Murray Jokic action. And I think you probably just auto switch that rather than doing more of a late switch if you're the Clippers, because Harden also kind of miscommunicated there. Zubac and Leonard did a good job of bailing him out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do they bring in Porter Jr. for Westbrook here too?
Yeah, I think they should.
Well, they're not having trouble scoring right now, and Westbrook gives you more defensively than Porter Jr.
I don't think you want the kind of the randomness, the chaos that Westbrook brings defensively. I think that they've actually done a pretty good job making the Clippers take harder shots.
Yeah.
In terms of foul situation, Denver has actually committed 4, so the Clippers are shooting free throws the rest of the way. Clippers have committed 3. Players with 4 fouls, Jokic and Harden and Bogdanovic, but I don't think that's going to be relevant. He shouldn't come back in this game. And yeah, I think that's all the kind of big down and distance stuff.
Did you say both teams have a challenge?
No, I didn't. Thank you. That both teams have a challenge and have sufficient timeouts left to use said challenge. And we could see a couple timeouts in the next little bit because each team has a Ulioli, a use it or lose it.
Yeah. The Nuggets have 4 fouls. Clippers have 3 in the period. Yeah, it doesn't look like Porter Jr. is going to be in. Clippers are going to stick with this same group as well, as far as I can tell. Also, in terms of timeouts remaining, both teams have a use it or lose it, so it may be a rather languid next minute or so.
Beyond James Harden having the ball in his hands.
Yeah. So Jokic is on Zubac still. Now they're going to send Jokic over into the strong side zone. They got Leonard guarded by Christian Brown. Double team comes. Leonard backs out. 7 on the clock. They tried to get it to Jones at the nail. It wasn't there. Batum, another ridiculous 3 attempt, just rimmed out. But that was a good defensive possession for the Nuggets. Kawhi backing up in that circumstance. I didn't like that decision. Now they double team Murray at the point of attack. Kawhi comes over. Brown is open above the break. Can he make it? No. Westbrook on the glass. What a rebound.
And huge play there. Westbrook over Michael Porter Jr. produces some dividends.
Westbrook also gives you more energy defensively to fly around if they're going to double team Kawhi. Here's Zubac. Westbrook did come over. Batum didn't shoot it. Jones smoked the layup.
And a good contest from Gordon.
He's going to try it. Westbrook going in on Harden. Harden did not foul. Go faster, Clippers. Westbrook is down under the play. And they take a foul to give here, but the
Clippers are in the bonus.
I believe that's correct, unless this box score is way behind. That was a bad foul by Brown. Westbrook did beat Kawhi beautifully. Then he goes right at Harden, and Harden did well just to back away here, knowing that Westbrook has 0 touch. But the Clippers not pushing it here. Westbrook is down under the basket.
Oh, yeah, and David Adelman, I'm assuming it was Adelman that called that timeout. Oh, no, it was Ty Lue. So I really hope we don't get both of these timeouts back to back, but it's very possible.
I wouldn't take it if I were Adelman because I don't want more of a rest for the Clippers.
Yeah, I agree. Are the Clippers in bonus? Yes, they are. They that was the fifth foul for Denver, a really bad foul by Christian Brown. So these will be 2 free throws for James Harden, down 1.
Let's reset now for a moment, though. What are these teams doing defensively? Looks like Denver starting to bring more guys up above the free throw line defensively, especially if they get Kawhi. I think on a matchup against anyone except for Aaron Gordon, they're going to bring help. Harden, we haven't seen what they're going to do yet in pick and roll. And then for the Clippers, they've double teamed and given up above the break threes to Gordon and Brown on the last couple of possessions.
James Harden's game so far, 20 points, 7 of 18 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3, I think 3 of 3 from the line. And he was so great in the very beginning of the game. I think he had 16 points in the first, and then has largely been not absent, but has just been way less effective since then.
Yeah, I don't know if the foul trouble bothered him, but he is going to get in rhythm from the foul line at this point. And remember that foul by Christian Brown. If they weren't in the bonus, it would have been a good one because Westbrook was so far behind. Batum will sit down now. Who did they replace him with?
Powell. And Chris Dunn is in.
Dunn. Harden makes them both. 1 point game. Murray wants the whole shot clock to work with here. The Clippers, not a team they're necessarily going to pressure. And Kawhi is on Murray. So they're going to switch now, I imagine. They want to go 1-4-5 here against Harden. Harden is on Murray. Back to Jokic. Going past Zubac, and he finds Westbrook inside. Leonard didn't want to come over because he was on Gordon underneath to give up the alley-oop, but Jokic just another beautiful pass. They're going to keep going at Harden, getting him onto Murray, and then playing out of that. Westbrook, again, he's been good. That's a really nice deflection in the corner. And this strategy of putting more guys up above the free throw line plays into Westbrook's advantages to fly around behind the play. Westbrook is actually picking up Dunn specifically for that purpose. He's being asked to just hang out in the lane and disrupt behind the initial double team. You can see him creeping in already. Kawhi going to go at Brown. Shoots the three going right. Missed it. Kept alive by Dunn into Jokic's hands, though. Denver's going to go right after Harden almost certainly here. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. Harden is on Gordon right now.
That's an easy screen to set.
Oh, they're just going to go the pitch game with Jokic. Switched onto Dunn is right back onto Murray. They'll try to run it again. Dunn is still there. Zubac steps out. Double team. Murray in the corner. Westbrook three-pointer. Missed it. Rebounded, though, over the head of Harden by Aaron Gordon. Unlucky bounce for the Clippers. Murray is holding it here. Everyone's exhausted. Murray's going to try Dunn. Now he tries Zubac. Three-pointer by Murray is off. Another offensive rebound. Brown kept it alive. Taken away by Dunn. Here come the Clippers. And what happened? Did they call a foul on that?
Oh, I didn't see one.
Oh, man. I thought Dunn just took it out of him cleanly. Let's see it. That is not a foul.
Not at all.
I don't think he really got the arm ultimately. I could see why the referee called the foul early.
And is Lou not going to challenge this?
Well, it's not free throws, so I think that's probably why. There would have been, I think, a clear recovery by the Clippers, though. This is an interesting decision not to challenge. But you also would have lost one of your two crucial timeouts. Jokic in the pick and roll. Goes at Kawhi. Goes around him. Floater. No. Powell couldn't get the rebound, and it's going to be a loose ball foul on the Clippers, and this will be free throws for Jokic. The Clippers can't get a defensive rebound right now. Powell had it. Jokic intercepted it right out of his hand, and then Powell grabbed his arm going for with the resulting loose ball.
Yeah, Powell tried to do the controlled tip to an open space. However, that open space had Nikola Jokic's right hand in front of it. So Jokic, 2 huge free throws for him, and he misses the first.
Wow, this has been a tight playoff game. We've had some mistakes. The offense for both teams has been worse than expected. Jokic missed them both.
Oof.
Bullet dodge there for Ty Lue and the Clippers. Both teams are in the bonus. Both teams have 2 timeouts. Both teams have a challenge. Harden. This is Jokic way out on the floor. Gets off the ball. Zubac goes in. Beautiful fake goaltend by Gordon.
Great
Clippers
patience.
lead it by 1.
Somebody got hit in the face there on the Clippers.
That's a great pass by Harden.
Oh, I think Chris Dunn got hit in the face by Zubac.
Yeah. Yeah, just totally inadvertent. I think he's okay, though.
And so was there a timeout called here? What's going on here? Oh, they're reviewing the goaltend. Okay.
Yeah. But this will be a goaltend.
Okay.
This plays into the Clippers' hands here. All right. Good job doing this review fast, at least. 1 point lead, and so we'll reset again with these Harden pick and rolls. Jokic is way up on the floor trying to trap Harden, and Harden threw a great pass out of it. Clippers weren't able to make, or I'm sorry, Nuggets weren't able to make the play behind that, and Zubac, great patience and fake to finish it.
And the Nuggets need to involve Harden in the action here. They didn't last time, got worse shots. Learn the lesson. You scored on the possession, but that was only because you got like 3 offensive rebounds.
100%. So it's Leonard now on Murray, presumably so they can switch this. But if you're going to just switch everything involving Harden, Jokic, 3-pointer. They set the screen with Harden's man. Another Nugget offensive rebound. Leonard gets through the screen. Murray engages him. Kick out Braun on the drive. Zubac is underneath. Gordon, 3-pointer contested by Zubac. Missed. Another. No. Finally, it's out to the Clippers. Powell went down. They don't give him the call. Harden is going to push it up. We're under a minute to go now. Nuggets will have one more chance after this. And they got Kawhi on Murray. Good job by Harden pushing this up. And now Murray knocks it away, and it's going to be Nuggets ball. Jokic wants to get in fast so they can't challenge. He's grabbing the ball and out of the hands of maybe someone on the Clipper bench. Did you see who that's off?
I thought it was off Kawhi.
Timeout Clippers.
I mean, is this so important to call that you challenge it even if you might lose? Like, if you have these just...
With 32.6 left. And what a failure by Kawhi. This is a Clippers timeout. Those 2 huge misfits. So let's see it here. Yeah, you see
Van Gundy
is holding on to the ball, trying to give him time. Van Gundy, and then Van Gundy goes down and he's biting at his ankles too.
Was that Pat Riley's? Whose leg was that?
It was Alonzo Mourning.
Alonzo Mourning, that's right.
Now Pat Riley was actually, I guess he was on the Heat at that point. But all right, let's see. Did you happen to see whose ball this is?
I didn't get a good look at it. No, they flashed away.
Yeah. Anyone in the comments? You guys got it? Yeah, I agree. Kawhi has to be stronger there. Absolutely. Like, he's got the strongest hands in NBA history. Like, you can't just lose the ball in that situation. Great job by Murray, though. All right, looks like they have a result here. Let's see it.
Okay.
Yeah, Clippers have 1 timeout left now here, though. If Denver were to score, they could use it.
By the way, that Jokic technical foul.
Yeah, well, and his missed free throws, too. So Nikola Jokic is one of the best in clutch time, as you see in these stats. And it's not only his own offense, it's the Nuggets' 127 offensive rating this season in the clutch. Yeah, here we're seeing the replay of this. He's trying to get the ball so they can't challenge it. All right, so they're going to try to go at Harden again here, you would think.
I mean, I would say Harden shouldn't be on the floor here. You have a timeout left.
Fat chance. But yes, 1,000%, Danny. But that's just not what Ty
Did Adelman call it? Did we get? Yeah, we got a second timeout. Okay.
Yeah, I guess because he didn't know. I don't know why you need to spend that time out here. Because if you actually, I don't like that at all. Because you should be. I mean, maybe because he didn't know whose ball it was going to be, but you should be able to account for that in this first timeout. Because it would be nice if they had 2 timeouts. If they miss here, they're going to need some more timeouts.
And they're to advance the ball, and or if there's an inbound problem.
I would assume they are trying to set up for a quick 2-for-1, but they could have done that in the first of these 2 timeouts.
Exactly. And the call was originally in their favor.
All right, let's see what they're going to do here. Gordon is guarded by Harden. Let's see if they try to involve Harden. Jokic near the baseline. Jokic is probably going to come off a screen here. Jokic has it at range, gets it to Murray. They get the switch. Leonard is back onto him. Dunn comes over on Jokic. Corner, it's Westbrook. 3-pointer for the lead. It's good. Russell Westbrook. Timeout Clippers. They had it set up. Chris Dunn came all the way over off of Westbrook to pick up Jokic on the pick and pop. Jokic trusted his teammate. Westbrook was wide open in the corner, and Denver leads by 2.
And that has to be so satisfying for Westbrook against his most recent former team, played with basically all of these guys. They helped off him.
Yeah, Harden, no way he's going to come out there and rotate off of Gordon. Maybe should have, at least as a token. Got great trust from Nikola Jokic there, and they set up the spacing really well. I think you can actually really question David Adelman for having Russ out there instead of Michael Porter Jr. in that situation. But it worked out.
So now as the Clippers, you're down 2. What are you trying to do here?
Kawhi Leonard, quick drive to the basket. Might even consider Norm Powell on a quick wide pin down out of the corner. He hasn't had a good game, but because teams are so worried about the 3-point line, you can get a quick action to the basket for the tying 2, and then if they help, you can kick it out for a 3. Yeah, thank God they're getting Dunn out of the game. That's pretty late to make that decision. It'll be Batum for him instead. And if they score here to tie it,
no timeout. Go no timeout.
Go no timeout. It depends what the timing is. Gordon is on Kawhi on the weak side. Harden is just going to try to get the ball right here against Brown. Harden just goes right to the basket, floats it up, and it's good. Exactly what we talked about. Just an immediate, quick drive. They're worried about the 3, and you can get a good look to tie the game.
And now James Harden definitely shouldn't be on the floor for the Clippers because the Nuggets are going to try to take the air out of this. Shoot. So the ball's in the air with zeros on the clock. Make sure you can't lose the game in regulation.
It's absolutely insane to have Harden on the floor here in this possession, but they're going to do it.
Especially because they have so many good defenders. This isn't a circumstance.
So many. Like to not have Batum out there instead of him, or Derek Jones Jr. instead of him. Yeah, like, are they going to put Powell in too?
I think Powell might be out. I think they might do that.
Put the best defensive 5, so basically in the league, out there if you just take out Powell and James Harden for this possession.
Okay, so they have 3 of them. There's Derek Jones.
Powell is out, and Harden
there's James Harden, like a horror movie villain walking to the court. So wonder what they're going to do here.
And then I also think David Adelman should even. He's not going to do it either. But They should have Michael Porter Jr. in here, but they're not going to. All right, let's get to work. Murray picked up by Kawhi. Do they involve Harden first? Kawhi trying to bother him. Down to 8. Double team comes immediately on Jokic off of Russ. Jokic picks it up. Russ is there again. He goes at Harden on the rotation. Russ tries to throw it off of Harden's back, and that'll do it.
Oh, and the Clippers, if they could have grabbed that ball faster, they could have. They didn't have any timeouts left?
They did not have any timeouts.
Okay.
But, yep, and that bad process, I would say, by both teams in terms of the lineups. Harden much better rotating here. And that was really precarious. If you watch that replay, Gordon was open for a flash underneath, but Dunn perturbed Jokic just enough, and Harden does rotate that time. He didn't rotate the previous time to Russ. And if that's Michael Porter Jr., you got the tying 3 or the winning 3 in the air. And because he could shoot right over anyone coming over. That is just, I realized, Russ earned the close, all that. Offense only possession. There's zero circumstance why you wouldn't have Michael Porter Jr. in there instead of Russ.
Harden has 4 fouls. Jokic has 4 fouls. Nobody else is in significant trouble. The Clippers do not have a challenge available because they lost their challenge. Denver does have a challenge available.
What a game.
Whew. And yeah, I'll save that for the pod.
But yeah, when you have one-way players and the possession is only going one way, you should probably put those guys in. Now, I will say this, though. James Harden, that was a really good defensive possession by him.
Yep.
He got stuck with 2, Westbrook and Gordon, and he dealt with both of them and was able to run Westbrook off the line.
He did a great job. Sometimes players defy expectations, like Westbrook did the possession before. Sometimes they, at Harden on that one, sometimes they live up to them.
Yeah, so Jokic, everybody has been making mistakes here. That's the way it should be in the playoffs. Nobody's perfect. I do love how Jokic seems to get involved on these, like, grabbing the ball out of bounds plays. Like, remember the Matt Ishbia flop?
That's right.
And Harden, big shot here. So that was a great last 2 possessions by him. It rimmed in. So my question is, what is it going to take? We see what the fulcrum is now. They've stopped going at Harden. Dunn has been with Kawhi on Murray. But they're not actually switching that to put Kawhi onto Nikola Jokic. Instead, what they're doing is letting Chris Dunn be the rotation man onto Jokic on that 2-man action and just containing Murray in a more conventional coverage. So how are the Nuggets going to deal with that? Powell is back in for offense for the Clippers. Jokic wins the tip. Gordon runs it down. Westbrook at the point of attack offensively for the Nuggets. Screen for Murray off the ball. Kawhi stays with him into the post. Jokic got it tipped away. Dunn is almost there. It's loose. Nuggets still have it. No shot clock reset. Murray tries Kawhi. Kawhi is there. Zubats is there. They kick it out. Gordon closed down by Harden. Late clock. He's going to have to create something into the lane, and he dunks it. They didn't have any help.
Gordon drove left and just straight up beat Harden. But you're right. Help should have been there.
Yeah, Kawhi didn't react. He was in position to take a charge there. Now it's Harden going at Murray, going right into Jokic, finishes easily.
That was a flashback to the first quarter where Harden was able to get downhill with that left hand.
Immediate double team on Murray to get it out of his hands. Into the corner, Westbrook, feet set, fires. No, great box out by Harden on Gordon. Gordon will pick him up in transition. Get it to Kawhi here. He's guarded by Murray. Now they're going to set 2 screens to get Murray onto Harden, but they're taking absolutely forever. Now Harden wants to get it to Kawhi, but he didn't recognize it until 5 of the shot clock. Double team. Kawhi throws it along the baseline. Powell down to 1. Is he going to get it off? No, he turned it over. 4 on 2. Here's Brown. Back to Gordon. Corner Murray. Huge 3. No. Rebounded by Westbrook. Powers up with the left hand. He got stopped, but a foul.
And that's Harden's 5th. And I'm flabbergasted by how bad the offensive process was for the Clippers on that last possession.
Yeah, that's what you get sometimes with James Harden, who then shoved Westbrook in the back on that offensive rebound. Yeah, James Harden, he's been going at Murray. He spent the entire possession trying to figure out how he was going to get Jamal Murray on him. And then he realized all of a sudden, wait a minute, Kawhi Leonard is being guarded by Jamal Murray.
$20 can buy many peanuts.
Yeah. Now, I think running it through Harden has been pretty good because they want to save Kawhi's energy to be the main guy on Murray, and that I think has worked pretty well. Westbrook, 1 out of 2. Missed free throws have played a huge role here. Kawhi sets the screen. Harden downhill off the double screen. Corner, it's Dunn, wide open 3. Chris Dunn, no. Tipped around. They tipped it away from Zubac. Jokic trying to run the floor hard. Murray gets into the drag with him. Into the lane, floater. That was all made by Nikola Jokic sprinting down the floor to get into position to set that screen. 3-point game. Harden gets it to Kawhi. Kawhi has Brown on him. Crossover, gets to his spot. Double team comes from Westbrook. Fade away, Kawhi lasers it in.
Absolute monster on those kinds of shots. Kawhi Leonard, 22 points, 9 of 15 from the field.
And he'll pick up Murray on the other end. Immediate double again to get it out of Murray's hands. Westbrook into the lane. Harden got the deflection. Dunn bothering Gordon, whose strong hands take it away from 2 men to finish.
And Westbrook there, he did the Ben Simmons auto pass instead of making Harden commit. He would have missed the layup, though.
Harden got it deflected. Jokic got back into the play. Denver can take a 2-possession lead here.
Great hustle there by Christian Braun. Had to react fast and did.
Now they have Dunn on Murray. Everyone's exhausted. Dunn bent over. Kawhi bent over. Murray. Dunn gets through the screen. Kawhi on the rotation, and he plows into Jokic, going for the steal. First foul of the overtime.
And first foul of the last 2 minutes because it was right after the 2-minute.
There's Jokic up top. They've run not that much directly through him. Now they go to the pick and roll. Zubac got through it. Corner, Westbrook again, 3-pointer. Just in and out. Tipped alive by Gordon. The defensive boards have been a killer for the Clippers. Gordon again. Kawhi got down there to take it away. Under 1:30. Kawhi attacking Brown, who chucks him. Good foul there by Brown.
It was an advantage situation for Kawhi. First foul in the last 2 minutes. That is the 4th on Christian Braun.
Yeah, the defensive rebounding by the Clippers has been inadequate here. Three-point game. Clippers have struggled to generate offense in the overtime. They get Murray onto Harden through the screen. Harden going to his left, into the lane. Floater is rimmed in once more. 1-point game.
He is hitting a ton of these, and that was a tough shot.
Murray didn't want to let Harden get to his step back. Again, they're going to the immediate double team at half court.
Steal, lazy pass.
Powell. But somehow it goes back to Jokic again. They've gotten so many of these deflections. Gordon into the post. Jokic. Cross court. Brown. Good contest. Done. Brown makes it. A great pass by Jokic. Timeout Clippers. It's a 4-point game. That is a massive 3-pointer with just under a minute to go.
And that was was that Dunn that was helping off of Christian Braun there?
He was the one who got the late contest.
Yeah, I think it was him.
And the Clippers, I laud their game plan. Their strategy has been, we're going to make Brown or Gordon beat us above the break, or Westbrook beat us anywhere. And they've hit a couple of these threes, but I think it's largely worked out. The problem is they can't get a defensive rebound, and then their offense hasn't been good enough. Clippers still control their own destiny here, though. They won't have to commit a foul if they can score on this possession. I wouldn't mind trying to get a 3 here, though, out of this ATO.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So somebody asked about other foul issues. Harden has 5, Jokic has 4, Brown has 4. And with 49 seconds left, the Clippers also need to move. They need to move here.
59 seconds.
Sorry, 59 seconds. I had it wrong in my head. Still need to move.
Jokic is on Kawhi. Now they switch out of that to put Gordon on him. Kawhi going downhill against Brown. Works to his
Dunn's
spot.
open.
Corner, Dunn 3. Couldn't make a pay. Kawhi, what a rebound. But then he just steps out of bounds. He thought he was getting fouled. He should have just thrown that back over his head. I think he thought by holding on to it, he would force the referee to blow his whistle. Unfortunately, the ruling was he stepped out of bounds.
And hilariously, Jokic tried to rush the ball in again.
The Clippers actually could have challenged that out of bounds and see if they could get a foul. Here's Dunn. Is it loose again? No, they finally have it. Now Kawhi gets it to Harden. Big 3. Yes, James Harden with a 2.7 differential. They need to foul here.
They need to. It's not. You can't
or
play.
At least
you can't play.
Pressure up. They're going to double team Murray up top. Jokic looking to get off the ball. 2.7 differential, probably not enough. Here's Westbrook's terrible decision. He went in for the shot, but they get the rebound. No shot clock reset, and then they do foul. What was Russell Westbrook thinking? But somehow the offensive rebound bails them out again. Here's that great steal by Chris Dunn. They weren't ready for him to rotate over. They should have been. That's what they've been doing the entire overtime. And Harden with a big 3 catch and shoot transition. Now Gordon, I mentioned he's made himself an 80% free throw shooter, gets the first one. Clippers have 1 timeout remaining now. They will probably take it here because they haven't taken Dunn out of the game.
And there it is.
Man, we have seen so many mistakes from both teams. So many great plays from both teams, so many bailouts of the mistakes by both teams. Aaron Gordon just absolutely saved Russell Westbrook's bacon there, and they had to foul him. I can't believe Russell Westbrook went for that shot, especially because he wasn't even open. Like, he just went into like a defender that he's shooting 1 for 403 on layups that are contested in this game.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
How could a veteran player be this dumb? I have no idea.
Gotta let Westbrook be Westbrook, Nate.
Well, and I've talked about how he can be corrosive to your culture because he just isn't held accountable the way a younger player would.
So would you now that the Clippers are out of timeouts, would you consider fouling early here?
Yeah, I think I probably would go for it. The Nuggets don't have like amazing free throw shooters,
and their guys have missed some. But
it looks like the Nuggets may be going with Peyton Watson here defensively. I saw him sitting in a position on the bench. Maybe they're going to take out Murray.
What's James Harden going to do now?
Bogdanovich is in for 3-point shooting. They've taken out Zubac. So Jokic now has to guard Batum out on the perimeter. Nuggets are standing inside the arc. Looks like they might play it straight up here. Watson is on Powell. And they're going to take out Jokic here?
Is he bleeding again?
Looks like something with his nose. Yeah, they're just going to shove something up there. Lou continuing to talk to his team. Yeah, we'll see whether they go for the foul here. I will say this, too. I don't know if I trust Russell Westbrook to foul without giving up the shot here.
Oh, Bogdanovich is in. Yeah,
They
that makes
want to
sense.
get it in quickly to Kawhi. Oh, close to 5 seconds. And Westbrook has gotten the steal off of Harden, they say. He denied the ball in bounds. James Harden, never known for putting a foot in the ground to get open. They throw it.
Well, and the Clippers don't have a challenge left.
Don't have a challenge, so now they just have to deny the ball in bounds and hope for a turnover. They talk it over, and this is going to be Denver ball.
Westbrook giveth, and Westbrook taketh away. And then giveth again.
It's been impossible to keep track of it in this game. But the balance looks like it's going to work out for Denver. They'll try to deny inbounds here. Dunn is actually going to be on Jokic. Maybe they could just use the size to get it into Jokic here. Batum going to try to pressure the inbounder and not let him get it to Jokic. Dunn got a hand on it. Jokic. Ooh! Loose ball foul on Dunn. I did not see much there. I thought it was, if anything, it's Jokic trying to hold him off.
And again, the Clippers do not have a challenge left. They do not have a timeout left.
Did they actually use their challenge, or did they just run out of timeouts?
They used it on that out of bounds play with Kawhi in regulation.
Yeah. So Jokic with the all important free throw that should completely end his end. Yeah, you can see read David Adelman's lips there. Don't foul. And now with it 5, that's going to do it here. Really a huge missed opportunity for the Clippers. Powell will try to push it up. Westbrook kind of almost fouled, but it's a 5-point game. Powell does hit the 3. They get it in, and that will do it.
Whew.
Would have been nice if the Clippers were ready to deny the ball in bounds there after Powell hit a 3, but whatever. Nuggets win it by 2. I haven't seen anything to make me think we're not going to have a long series here. Thanks so much for joining us. Really a shame the Clippers never got a shot up there at the end, but there's going to be a lot to unpack on Dunked On tonight.